The Supernatural Dogshit podcast is controversial and confrontational and may cause offense to some. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening, one. Good evening, all, and welcome to the Supernatural Dogshit podcast live for this Thursday evening. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We have extra people in the studio tonight, as you can probably see. We have 5 people in the studio tonight, so Nathan has to share a microphone. Boo-hoo for Nathan.
My biggest gripe in the world.
So first of all, I do what I always do. I'll go around and introduce everybody. As usual, in studio with me, we have Mr. Nathan Lynham.
Thank you.
Also, we have Mr. Richard Quinlan.
Grazie.
Ed Harris.
Yo.
And for future reference, we'll just call you Frank. Just Frank. Just Frank. We won't give out any other details other than Frank. We want to keep him nice and mysterious.
Oh, he's
The
totally
reason he's
mysterious.
here this evening is because he slayed at head-to-head with Ed in an intense battle.
Oh, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, this is Frank, who absolutely
Battled.
epic match, pulled it back at the last second.
Actually, I have a little bone to pick with you on that.
Okay, please.
When the 10 questions were up,
Yes.
I was one ahead.
Were you?
I was.
Now see, unfortunately,
Because it was the 10th question, Ed had to get it to tie,
right?
but neither of us got it, and then you called an extra question.
Did I?
And he actually nearly won it and all.
In fairness, this is the drunkest podcast we ever did.
It was actually one
Oh,
on the
you're
10th
drunk.
question.
Well, actually, before we move on,
But anyway, that's-
before we do move on, I want Mr. Lynham to just here, vagina, get your face out of the laptop. Now, I just want you to run outside and make sure that the
There's no delay on the mic, on the
sound
camera.
quality is amazing and that the volume isn't too high. Supernatural.
phone.
Okay, yeah, you do that.
Bye.
Fantastic. So, we have everybody in studio. There's a lot to get through tonight. We are talking all things conspiracy theory.
Part 2.
Part 2, because we know that Richie is literally off the fucking walls with what is a lizard alien
Interdimensional shapeshifters.
How many? No, paedophile
Interdimensional shape-shifting pedophiles.
See,
Slash.
see, this is where you lose me.
Gay frogs.
But this is where most people lose the notion of conspiracy, and this is actually it's these sort of
Crazy
theories,
off-the-wall
it's-
theories, yeah.
It's the more off-the-wall ones. These are the ones that are preferred to be poster boyed to give the moniker of, oh, he's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
He's off.
Yeah, it's the
Often,
flagship
yes.
premium
But
conspiracy theory.
when you actually break it down, what a conspiracy, like the person who is called a conspiracy theory in today's society, basically there's somebody who's asking questions of people who should know the answers, who aren't giving answers that make any sense.
Yes.
Exactly.
And when that occurs, it's the person who's asking the question who is being sort of vilified as opposed to the
person who should be answering.
Exactly, and this is
the
something
question is directed at.
Frank, I brought this up many times because I actually spoke to you about this a long time ago. That unfortunately, with the amount of conspiracy theories out there, there could be a very natural event, like in my opinion, the Las Vegas shooting, which I think isn't a conspiracy. I think it was just some lone gunman. Maybe he had a little bit of help, went nuts. But of course, straight away there was the internet was flooded with conspiracy theories. But some some of them hold weight because you're going, that seems to be a bit of evidence.
But the beautiful thing about the term conspiracy theory, which was coined by the CIA in the 50s to kind of just ruin the whole investigative journalism side of things, it all boils down to making the lines between reality and fiction very close together so that you can hide in the space.
This is exactly what I'm getting at. So when I saw the Las Vegas shooting thing, I went along with the main narrative, and then of course I delved into something like Alex Jones or somewhere down the rabbit hole, and I'm going, that doesn't make sense, and that's a good question, and this, that, and the other. So by the time I got to the end of it, I'm going, I'm confused. There's evidence on both sides to support it, so now I'm going, shit, who do I believe? There's too much goddamn
Gotta just put your faith in Alex Jones, man.
But who says you actually have to make a choice? Who's
Taking
who's
all
to say
information,
You
yeah.
can't just take in the information and say, look, with the information I have at hand, I can't make an absolute 100% decision that I would say there's no doubt about it, this is the answer.
Of course, but curiosity killed the cat. As humans, we are curious. If we don't have an answer for something, we stew on it and we not want to know.
I prefer to shelve it rather than stew on it. If there's something I would say the flat Earth, hollow Earth, globe Earth.
Yeah.
There's the three
main points of contention for some people.
Right. So each of these has some evidence to support the fact. Otherwise, people wouldn't take it on board. So we'll say with the flat Earth, they've done laser to laser projections across lakes 20-30 miles that should have
the curvature
and everything else. So with regard to that, like I've discussed this with my children, and my youngest lad, he sort of thinks it's a bit mad, and he's right. Yeah. And he said to me one evening, he said, "But you believe in the flat Earth?" And I said, "No, I don't. All I know is that there's three theories, and none of them have 100%
accuracy
and details."
And I'm on a board.
Even NASA themselves say it's not actually a globe. Some of them say it's oblong. Some say it's
more
potato
egg-shaped.
You see it without the oceans.
But that doesn't fit either, because if you have a potato shaped or even a slightly squashed shape, right? That means at certain parts of the Earth you'll have less curvature.
Yes.
Yeah. But you'll have others where you'll have more curvature, so it should be even more obvious.
Yes.
And you don't have that.
I tell you what, Frank, we're going to get into that into the second half of the show, because we have business to attend to.
Absolutely,
forced. So we're going to break straight into Mr. Lynham. Are you ready to go? Or yeah, so grab yourself a microphone there, Mr. Lynham. We haven't done eye on.
You haven't. No, hang on. Hang on. You're jumping the gun.
You are jumping the gun, man.
Jumping the gun.
Jumping the gun.
You
good
really
man.
are.
Thank you. I'm also burning my finger here and doing.
We have the social media call out.
Yes, guys.
Go for it.
Please share our fucking Facebook page. I've no mic. It feels like I'm just starting now, like I'm having on the podcast. We're on Spotify, Podbean after the show, supernaturaldogshit.com, and go to our Instagram, give us a follow on Instagram, do all that lovely stuff for us. And Richie's going to do a little bit of social cue.
Share.
Yeah, guys, we really need you to share the page. Sharing is most important to us, because if you have 500 friends and you share maybe 500 of your friends if they share it.
Sharing is caring.
It grows and grows and grows and grows, and that's what we want.
And also a word from a sponsor.
Yeah, socialcure.xyz.
That's right, Nathan. Our sponsor of the show is socialcure.xyz. It is a website that you will go to, and you can consolidate all your social media, all your pictures, videos, SoundCloud, Spotify, everything. Consolidate it all to one handy QR code. Someone can scan it and then be linked into all your social media.
And our mobile number is
085 272 7212.
So if you want to get in touch with the show at any time tonight, you can text or WhatsApp into 085 27 27 212. Please do send in your text and WhatsApp. We also need to go. We need somebody, a new contestant for head to head with Ed for 20 quid. So it's gone back to the 20 because
Mr.
Frank won the 40 quid, and we will be handing you said prize before you leave this evening.
On air.
Well, no, that's 40
in coins.
That's a bit like, here's the money. Look what we did. We're awesome. That sucks, man. That sucks dick.
You're right.
So actually, we shouldn't. Thank you very much for calling me out on that. So as usual, Mr. Lynham, did anything interesting happen to you since Tuesday?
Not really, apart from that mad experience I had with my father, which Frank doesn't know, I'll tell him after. But we kind of did nothing. We kind of slept all day.
You did. You used to be useless.
What time did me and Aiden get out of bed today?
Aiden was up at around 4 o'clock.
I got up at 6:30.
You got up at 6:30.
Well, sometimes a full day in bed is just
exactly
what...
It's becoming...
hang on, they had a full day in bed the day before as well.
Ah, well, okay.
And we've been at
sure the day before that
and
the day before that.
Context, yeah.
We've been at this a while, like sleeping in a lot, so...
But in fairness, I love my bed.
But
I don't care. We've stuff to do.
What's to get up? Where are you going to go?
Exactly.
What are you going to do?
I said this the other day. When you stay up at night
Nothing
time,
open. Like,
there's nobody knocking at your door.
No responsibilities.
There's nobody ringing your phone. There's no bills coming through your door at night time. It's a nice, peaceful, calm time to be. And daytime is just hustle and bustle and people being assholes.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like the daytime.
I mean, we sat and we just listened to music last night, and we just had a nice little night, enjoyed ourselves, and
Yeah, and then drove to KFC.
That was like, oh, how about
What?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, we drove to KFC.
When?
It was closed. That wasn't not last night. It wasn't last night. It was the night
It was the one before.
It was about 7 o'clock in the morning.
We went all the way to
All the way
Athlone.
to Athlone.
I drove down, he drove back.
Just for KFC.
And it was closed.
Nowhere open.
What
what-
notion
where-
did you
where-
have in
what-
your
what
head
sort
that
of KFC
would be open at 7 o'clock?
Yeah,
in the
what are
morning?
you? What they don't have a
what?
breakfast menu.
No.
No,
Lads.
it's chicken popcorn, man. Chicken
Listen.
popcorn.
Do not go to the KFC in Athlone. Go to the one in Tullamore. It's
Yeah.
nearer.
Oh,
It's nicer. It's cleaner. It's newer.
It's gone.
What was it? No, we were in.
We should have one in Mullingar.
We
but it
should.
was, refused apparently 3 times.
Because they had too many fast food outlets in the town and people
And
are
yet,
running
and yet
outside.
Mr. Chicken came in.
Yeah.
Chicken Hut.
Chicken Hut. They're
Chicken
gone.
Hut.
They're gone.
They're gone because of all the staff whistleblowing on the health and safety conditions. In
Now, this is allegedly.
We found something out.
We found out something tonight.
Wait, just tonight?
Yes.
Okay, can I tell you what I found out first? Not a few weeks
Okay,
ago.
go.
General consensus
Apparently
was they
he-
couldn't really cook chicken.
Yeah, well,
That's what everybody heard.
apparently he wasn't paying the rent for the last 3 months of his business.
There we go.
And one morning, everybody came to work, and the landlord had changed all the locks. And that's it, gone. He's done, finished.
Well, allegedly, and that's
Allegedly,
that's the story
allegedly.
that I heard tonight.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. So nothing really exciting happened to me, apart from the woman in Lidl that we love is going to watch the podcast tonight.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
very
watch.
good.
Yes.
Watch, yeah.
Instead of
So,
just listening.
so that's me, boring old me.
So usually we go counterclockwise. So Frank, did anything interesting happen to you during the week?
No, nothing specific really. Apart from
Nothing incriminating.
getting on last night with head to head with Ed, and well, being invited on tonight. This was it was unexpected. I was hoping to come on, of course, pretty soon, but it was unexpected this evening. But yeah, I'm glad to be here.
It was
And
some
we're
sort of conspiracy.
Delighted to have you here, Mr. Harris.
Yeah.
Anything exciting happen?
Anything exciting happen?
You know, this is the worst part of the show for you.
Why?
Because it's always, I fixed my car, I fixed my caravan, I don't know, I fixed it.
No, I don't fix my car. I don't fix my car.
Wait. Or I fixed a light switch that Nathan blew up just before the show started.
Yeah, there was that.
Why didn't I go with that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nathan, the non-electrician,
None of these are electricians.
decided to bust the light just right up over my head here.
Technically, I fixed it.
We will
Don't mention the war.
delve
Don't mention
in-
the war.
You stay in your lane, boy.
We will.
Stay in my lane.
So-
huh?
Stay in your lane.
Anything
And what would be my lane?
Your lane is Richie. You are a law unto yourself.
lane.
In fairness, though, then that is his lane.
Exactly.
That is his
Richie's
lane.
lane
You
is
just-
every
yeah,
fucking
you
lane.
just-
All the lanes.
All the lanes.
Yeah.
Including the hard
erratically.
shoulder.
Yeah.
I would love to see you drive in
You
the
own yourself
States.
there a bit.
You know, in the States they have like 16 lane wide motorways. You'd be just in every fucking
What
one
about
of
No,
them.
the
what about the
fastest one.
58 lane one in China?
58?
58, and it bends down into 20.
Yep.
And there's been traffic jams where people have died from being stuck in their cars for so long.
There was a
that they
traffic
died.
jam in China there last year that went on for about 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
3 people died at it. Dehydration.
So, Mr. Quinlan,
it's insane.
anything
Do
interesting?
they get travel allowance?
I hate to see the bill. Anything
I
interesting?
cleaned out
I hope it's
my
by the hour, not by the
section
mile.
at work,
Yeah.
where I work in the garage, and I haven't cleaned it out in 4 years.
Oh,
See, I think the question is not.
Oh, and I
here-
killed a mouse in Frank's house.
You did, yeah. Little mouse came in, and I spotted him. He says, "There's a mouse." He says, "Where?" I was just gone in over there under that curtain, and yeah, he got down on all fours and phew, mouses, yeah.
Dispatched with him immediately.
Brown bread in about 15 seconds.
How did you kill him?
Slapped him into the ground.
bastard, you.
Yeah.
why
And
did
a
you just
poor
call him and
mouse.
throw him out?
He
Yeah.
wouldn't have felt a thing.
Just catch him and throw him out.
Because that's the thing. If I catch him, he can bite me.
Yeah, but you
So?
grab him by the tail.
No, their tail will come off.
No, it doesn't.
Yes.
that's
No,
a-
because
that's
I've
a
picked them up
lizard.
by the tail, throwing them out of the house.
I've picked them up and their tails have come off.
I have had.
It like de-gloves.
I've had 15 pet mice when I was a kid.
15.
Yeah, and I used to swing them around by the tail. So like, yeah, their tails.
I used to buy
definitely
them. I
don't
used to
go
buy them frozen.
off. For your snake. You had a snake, clearly.
I did indeed. Yeah. I actually have plan on getting a few more in the near future.
No short.
Snakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never. I held one. I held an anaconda when I was a kid. Its head was on my lap. It was one of those photo opportunity jobbies. But all I can remember is they don't feel the way they look.
No,
I'm terrified by
Super
snakes.
dry.
It was actually, and you see, a lot of people have that misconception that they're slimy,
And they're not at all.
No, they're not at all. Actually, when I was doing the, I used to do a youth club here in town, and at the latter stage of it, there was a I think it was a Halloween party we were doing for the kids, but it was the younger kids, and a few of the older kids in that group asked if I'd bring in the snake that night.
Okay.
And I said I would, but I said you have to keep it quiet because basically I didn't want to be scaring all the young kids because some of them are quite small. So they wanted to see the snake anyway, so I brought them into the side room and they all came in, but the word got around fairly quick. And before I knew it, the entire room was full
Of kids.
Everyone wanted to come in. And once a few of them held it, everybody were. And they literally lined up in rows of 5 with the snake stretched out for photographs until everybody got a photograph with the snake.
Isn't it amazing though when you look at kids? Kids are awesome. We had this conversation myself and Ed earlier. Kids are just so bleeding amazing because there's very little fear in them. You go to a lot of.
But if you show them that there's nothing to be afraid of,
Yep.
and then they see one of their peers
Do it exactly.
doing it,
But did
then,
any of the teachers hold the snake? Or
there
better
was-
question,
there
did
was-
any of the
there was
teachers
one-
refuse?
There was one or two of the adults, yeah, they did.
Right.
They don't. Yeah, there's some people that really just have a thing about snakes and
Are you enjoying your sweets
But,
over there, Ed?
Tobacco.
So I'm deciding. I'm not too sure whether I'll go for a Colombian rainbow boa or a royal python.
Royal Python all the way.
And the specific thing about those two particular snakes is they only grow to a maximum of 6 foot.
Okay.
There are pythons,
Only
a lot
6
of
foot.
snakes that will go to
18, 20 feet.
huge, you know. My marker would be with a snake would be about 6 foot anyway.
Yeah, but
The snake I had before was just it was a rat snake.
And what's the interest in having a pet snake? I mean, sure, it's not like you throw a stick and they fetch.
No, it's just I find them a lovely, peaceful creature.
Oh.
Like even the snake that I had, it had quite a good temperament. Because I had him long, and I brought him out of the garden, just let him go through the grass. But somebody let the dog out. Lucky.
He has a habit of
Lucky
that.
was trotting around the garden, and then Lucky spotted the snake, but the snake spotted Lucky pretty much at the same time. And the snake immediately wrapped up in a
S-shape.
coil and up and on the attack. And as Lucky was going, his head was going around and just keeping an eye. And then Lucky came in a little too close, and he went out for the strike.
And did you get him?
So I immediately put Lucky in, went back, just rubbed the back of the snake, picked him up, put it around my neck, and he was fine. But I've been actually very lucky with all our animals, the temperament, especially our cat. My cat Garfield, he's now 17. So he grew up with my boys, they're 17 and 19. And they pulled and dragged him and, hugged him and I love Buddy Cat and, the whole... Never hissed at them, never scratched them, never did anything. He'd look for an out,
And have you ever
Guys be darting around,
Have you ever
And
been bitten
he'd
by
see
a
an
snake?
open, boom, and he'd be gone.
have you ever been bitten by a snake?
I was bitten by my snake.
Okay, and how painful was that?
Not overly.
it's like getting stabbed with a hypodermic needle.
But
really.
it wasn't his fault. Now what had happened was I was at the time I was wearing my wedding ring on a chain,
Yeah.
and I had the snake, but the snake put his head in through the ring, but then he kept going.
He gets
but-
wider.
So he got stuck. So basically, I had to hold his head, and then I had to work back up because the scales were holding the ring in place. So it took me 20 minutes to get him out of the ring. And just right at the end, when I nearly had him off, I just let go of the head, and the head just went fully around, and he just bit my finger.
Okay.
But
I'm assuming it's not a poisonous snake.
but it was no, it was a constrictor.
Okay.
So
But surely all snakes do have venom still, don't they?
No.
No, constrictors, they're called constrictors. They don't need venom. They literally
Strangle.
They'll strangle. Well, they don't. They actually.
They
what
try
they'll
and
do
crush
is
it.
They'll wait. They'll wait until you exhale,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll tighten.
So you can breathe in.
Yeah. So basically every breath you take, they tighten a little more and a little more until they basically
So kids, don't buy snakes.
No, they're good.
Oh, if they're too big, like there was the story about a woman who went into this pet store and she was asking things. Do you know anything about snakes? She says, "What's your question?" She says, "I was wondering, since my snake usually coils up at the end of the bed, but there's been one or two times recently where I found him and he's just lay on the bed beside me." And he says, "Oh, make sure you keep feeding him at regular times because he's sizing you up."
Oh.
Because that's what a snake will do. He'll lie along something to see.
Can I fit him inside me?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, but when they get that big, they're dangerous. And
That happened in Florida.
Like
Well, they're wild fucking
but
animals.
The strength of them, like when you actually feel a snake in your hands, like it is just pure muscle.
Muscle, of course, yeah.
And like the snake I had, you're only talking about so big.
Mm-hmm.
But with the pythons or the things, you're talking this big. So that's, and that much muscle, it's...
So the moral of the story is, if you're an adult, get a snake. If you're kids or a dog, stay the fuck away from snakes.
Exactly, yeah.
2 anecdotes for snakes. In Florida, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. There was a pet shop. Next to it was apartments, all in the one block. And the guy in the pet shop had an illegal boa constrictor. Very illegal. It was about 24 feet. Ooh. He had it in a cage. He was showing some guys. They went off, did something else, forgot to lock it properly. It got out into the ventilation system, crawled into a room in the apartments and killed 2 children.
Oh, fuck.
Jesus.
Yeah. He got jail for it. And then...
What did he get jail for? What was the charge?
Possession of a dangerous, unregulated... You know, in America, they'll just...
Reckless endangerment.
It's just
Yeah, that's
big,
what I was
long
thinking
sheets.
along the lines of reckless endangerment.
He got jail. That's all I know. He was responsible ultimately for the 2 deaths of the kids. And they never found the snake. Snake got out the window then and was never to be found again.
Well, do you remember there was a video that went around viral there, I think it was last year or the year before, of a couple who were in Florida and they were down by the bayous. I think they were an English couple, and the little kid is standing beside the water.
Oh, and the croc.
The croc just...
Or the alligator, sorry.
Yeah, just out of the water, like a dart, grabbed the child, took it in, child never seen again.
Jesus.
Imagine going on holidays and that shit happening. Yeah, this is getting dark. We need to do your headlines.
One more thing.
Before we go ahead, okay, sorry, hold on, go back to Richie. Before we do headlines, I got some stuff here from people's.
From the people.
My friend's brother had a corn snake. Lovely little dude, about that long.
Tiny things.
About that thick. Very malleable and handleable. Everybody was touching it.
That's the one I had, corn snake.
And
Snake.
my friend's missus was there and he's like, just pet the snake holding it. And she just touched it on the top of the head and like a pile of rope, just dropped dead. Second, she literally touched the snake like that and it died.
Touch it death.
It's really freaky, weird shit. But anyway, back to Nathan.
You seen on what is it? The show that Chris Pontius and
Wild Boys.
yeah. Do you see when they eat the live snake's heart and it's still beating? That's crazy.
That's nasty.
Mad. Also, I was about to say, Frank, you're an interesting fucker. Rebecca says here KFC is actually closed down. Tullamore. It's gone.
Told you.
It's gone. Some people say the music sounds perfect. Thanks, guys. Gary Gallagher says, "Good man, Frank. You're looking well."
Thank you very much.
Shane Greville, like this is why I was giving a thumbs up to the camera. He says Epstein didn't finger himself.
And the hosepipe band.
Hosepipe band.
And Rebecca says here, "Where's my sign I gifted you guys?"
What sign?
The sign.
The sign.
The blue LED sign.
You might have been in.
I know where
different
it
days.
is. I know where it is. I
got a
need
new-
to find little pins to stick in the holes.
We got a new
to get
sign
it to
for the
work.
studio.
Wait. People need to explain this to me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll show you at the ad break.
Okay, is
Because
it?
we'll waste too much time explaining something over the radio.
Yeah, but people deserve to know what gift we were
Do
gifted.
you know what? We'll get it at the. We will get it. And we will show them after the ad break. How's
Watch
that?
this
It was a
space.
gift.
Yeah.
One of our great watchers, listeners, watchers. What do we call them now?
She was a guest.
Yeah. Oh, she was a
Viewers.
guest. So she brought us a new sign.
Okay, and it's
Go on.
time for
Headlines.
Weird headlines from around the world, bringing you the strange, the dumb, and the funny. Brought to you by Nathan Lynham.
Mr. Lynham.
Mr. Doyle, thank you very much. So, first headline. Con artists conjure up fake genie to dupe a doctor into buying £72,000 Aladdin's lamp.
I heard of this.
You heard about this one?
I've heard this, yes.
So,
What?
first of all, who believes that you will Aladdin... Anybody believe in Aladdin?
No.
A genie in a bottle?
No. What's your woman who sang Genie in the Bottle?
Christina Aguilera.
Oh, yeah. She was
Yeah.
hot.
Well, most of the time, it's not about what you're selling; it's how you're selling.
Exactly. It's just the
Your
best
pitch.
con. You can literally
pitch.
sell sand to the Arabs if you're a good con man.
Yeah.
Very true.
Not even a.
2 Irish
Not
brothers
even a
in
comment.
Australia sell all the sand to the people who developed all the cities in Dubai.
That is a true fact.
Wait. We saw what?
Yes. 2 Irish fellas literally sold sand to lads in Dubai.
Okay.
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
Get
But
your head
anyway,
around that.
so yeah, 2 men have been arrested after a doctor was conned out of 72 grand for an Aladdin's lamp. It was alleged that they conjured up a fake genie trick to trick their victim. This happened in India. Are you surprised?
No.
I'm believing that shit. Like, so they told the dude that if he bought the lamp for 72 grand, a supernatural figure will appear from the lamp. This is good for the conspiracy out there. Yeah, they bought the lamp. He bought the lamp. They got arrested, and now they're in prison for selling him the fake lamp.
72,000.
Well, how did they-
$93,000.
Now here's the
How
thing.
did they trick him?
Here's the
He's a
question.
dumbass.
If you have a genie in a lamp,
He's a
What-
doctor.
They
why
prom-
would you fucking sell it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You would just wish for the money.
they promised him it would bring him health, wealth, and good fortune.
Some people are just really fucking dumb, I swear
But
to God.
if you're, like you said, if you're a good salesman, you can sell anything.
Okay, second
Anything.
headline.
You go for number 2.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird enough. This one's kind of weird. So, second headline: toothbrush removed from man's stomach after he swallowed it while he was brushing his teeth.
Jesus.
No.
How?
How?
Yeah.
Do we even need to go into the headline? Like,
Is he a sword
how?
swallower by trade?
No. Like
It's impossible.
It's like big.
he must have been like reaching for his back.
His
He was
tonsils.
brushing the back of his tongue, and he must have fallen or something. Yeah.
I mean, like, even if you brush back your-
But did you say swallow?
Yeah,
Yeah. How do you accidentally swallow a toothbrush?
You
In
can't.
fairness. Like it's,
19 centimeters long.
I'm gonna take a wild guess here. Fucking wild guess. It was a weird sexual thing.
wrong end of the body.
No, well, I mean, there's deep throating. You know, women do like that stuff, and men.
It was, yeah. But to get it into the stomach, that's the wrong way to go to the stomach. Yeah.
Oh yeah, lemmy wings. So go on.
It's it doesn't say that he it doesn't say
Anyway.
it doesn't say that he slipped. It just says it slipped.
It slipped.
It slipped.
Yeah.
So it slipped into his mouth. He was rushed to a nearby clinic, and then when he got his X-ray, they couldn't find it in his like esophagus. So
Oh,
they did more.
God.
Yeah, right. And it was in his belly. And I've seen the images of the operation. They literally ripped his stomach open to get this fucking toothbrush out, and it was perfect. You could probably wash it and reuse it.
You, yeah, it's still a terrible headline.
This was weird.
No,
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh,
I've been struggling.
I have an idea for it.
I think my headlines have been on the decline.
I have a new idea for Nathan's headlines.
It's not loud enough. Fuck you.
No,
You
it's
fucked it
not.
up.
No, I didn't.
There we go.
There you
Yeah,
go. That's better.
yeah. He said he wasn't feeling any pain though or discomfort. Nothing.
Well, I mean, normally when you swallow big shit, do you know what I have?
What was he a big guy?
Have you ever? No, he wasn't that big. Have you ever swallowed that and weird?
Yeah.
My sister,
yeah.
actually, one of my sisters swallowed an open pin.
Oh,
Yeah,
safety pin.
A safety pin.
An open one.
Open one. Yeah.
What happened?
She, get this. She had to eat cotton wool sandwiches.
What?
Like to protect?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Like a little cloud of cushion
Don't know
around it.
how that works, but maybe they just kept
Wrap
on
around
doing
it can get
blood
caught
and-
and
yeah.
pat it and wad it.
Not too sure, but
I've heard stories of kids getting things
Whatever.
from the beanbags in their ears and like they're still in there.
yeah,
They never come out.
or up their nose.
Up their nose.
Yeah.
You see the
Lego.
what is it?
I know a friend who was tumming fucking marbles up a cat's ass.
What? Story, please.
We were,
no.
we were only
Ah,
about
yeah.
10 or 11 years of age, and we were like, "Where's all your marbles?" And he said, "Check the cat's ass." And he had tummed the marbles up the cat's arse.
Oh, that's dirt.
Oh, this was your friend.
Yeah.
You didn't see this happen now.
Shout out to Sean Moore, if you're listening.
Oh God.
And did
Yeah.
he scoop them out of the litter box after or what?
I don't know what he done with them.
Say something there, I'm glad I didn't.
What were you gonna say?
No.
What were you gonna say, Frank?
Anything is allowed. I've seen weird shit. Kids do weird shit with cats. I've seen a kid swing a cat around by his tail before when we were. all
That's
no, it's
wrong.
disgusting. We were.
Yeah.
I did it when I was a kid.
I didn't do it.
Like when I was about 10 years of age, I
Actually, I'm not too sure which was worse, swinging around with the tail or
tumming the
tumming
marbles up a
into his
cat's ass.
Definitely tumming the marbles into the ass is worse.
No, but when I was a kid, I hated cats. We had a little pup, and his name we called him Maximilian.
Right.
And apparently, he had caught parvo from cat's shit or something.
Is that what John Joe had?
And the cat,
No.
the cat died. Oh, sorry, the dog died. And from that day on, I had a thing for cats that I hated them. So we used to just like pick a cat up by the tail, go, boom, see how far
Get
he
rid
can
of
fly. Yeah. Never killed a cat.
No.
Or did I? John Joe.
Fucking knew it.
What happened to John Joe?
John Joe just disappeared. My
Anybody
friend.
know?
Disappeared the day before he moved in.
Okay, conspiracy. What do people think happened to John Joe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Let's do this one for a minute.
Let's follow the line of reasoning here.
I think Aiden thumbed a heap of marbles up his arse.
He OD'd on marbles.
OD'd on marbles.
What do you think
I actually, when I was a kid, I had a marble in my pencil case and I was stuck it in my mouth when I was looking for something. Accidentally swallowed the thing. Didn't want to get in trouble for causing a disturbance, so I was quietly choking there for ages trying to figure out how to get it out. So I shoved 2 pencils down the back of my neck behind it and popped it out. It was
The Heimlich is
horrible.
the best. Why didn't you just like, hello? and
I
just
was like
choke it?
6.
Okay, but
6 and bet afraid of causing a commotion.
well, do you know
Fucking nuns.
what your headlines are at the doing? Bringing down the tone of the show.
Yeah,
We
that's my
usually-
job.
We're usually excited at this stage, and there's no excitement from you at all tonight, you bollocks.
No, Mike.
Well,
That's
is
true.
that your headlines over?
No, there is another
No, he's one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, here we go.
It's only alright though. I don't even know if I want to do it now, to be honest with you.
I'm
go
getting my
on.
fucking button ready.
Oh, God.
I'm feeling the pressure.
Yeah, the headline is room to rent advert is so chaotic people don't even know where to start.
Let's hear the story
Go on.
first.
Right, so the ad reads double room available in the old wacky warehouse in Dalston. You'll be sharing with 5 other creatives aged 24 to 35. 4 of us are working and another mature student studying deserology. Deserology?
No
What?
idea.
What is that? Deserology? Does anybody even know what that is? I'm telling you.
Spell it out for us.
DESAIROLOGY.
Spell it out slowly.
DESAIROLOGY. What is that?
Deserology.
Deserology.
What is it?
But you don't have to say it like a retarded dub.
So what,
Yeah, I'm sorry, pronounce it
the
right.
question is,
what is it?
So if anybody knows the answer to the question of whatever is,
Deserology.
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 sounds-
Google it.
No. Let the listeners do the work first, or the watchers, the viewers.
Listen, they've had a long day. They want to settle down.
No. Put a bit of legwork
They don't
in,
wanna be
you
doing
lazy
some homework.
fuckers. We're doing all the work here. So Google it. And he's Googling it here. He's cheating. He's cheating.
I can't believe nobody knows what it is here. I thought one of you would at least know
Not
what it
a
was.
clue.
Because I purposely was reading the headline earlier and I was like, I'm not going to look up what it is and ask them. What is it? Is it bad?
You keep talking there.
Okay, anyway. So yeah, apparently the room is new, or the warehouse is newly carpeted with two opening windows. That's it. In this whole warehouse.
2 opening windows.
Okay, the fact that he's saying this is what it is, I'm so confused what's going on right now. But anyway.
Give him the mic.
Oh, is it too weird to even...
First of all, for your headline,
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
right? Deserology is the person that puts makeup on the person for their wake. They dress up the dead for their funeral.
So it's
Brilliant.
makeup artist for corpses.
That's why it's a weird place to rent and live.
Yes. So it all makes sense now. But
Yeah.
still, your headline.
No,
Boo.
no, I'm actually happy with that one there. That was that weird.
No.
Yeah, you can go and live. It's like a warehouse, and you have to live with the dude who does this job.
Yeah, we'll
So
pass,
now I
pass
know-
on that one. Yeah.
But that's just a job, like. I mean, a gig's a gig.
Imagine what's the person that makes you look nice when you die and you're in the coffin?
Damn.
Them.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
No, fuck that.
But like,
Yeah, corpse
is
dressing.
the building the mortuary or what?
It's like a step down
Is
from
this what that
embalming.
is, you know?
Yeah, did you put them in the car and drive them around to get done up? Then drive them home and fuck them in the casket?
Well, I do remember being at a funeral. I can't say whose funeral it was because it would be very disrespectful for me to say this. But
Nanny, was it?
no, a relation of mine turned around and said, "Why the fuck is there lipstick on the corpse?" And they went, "Because they're dead and it's trying to make them look better." And they went, "Yeah, but it's a man."
Yeah.
They put lipstick.
I've seen
like
that.
I'm talking whore red, prostitute red lipstick
Yeah.
on a fucking corpse.
Yeah. You probably had to because...
White as a ghost and these bright red lips.
Yeah, because your lips go a really kind of weird shade of purple.
A real weird
and you
purpley
have to-
blue colour, yeah.
Probably all they had to go with.
Go out and get some
Oh, yeah,
Max
fire
Factor or
engine,
something.
Yeah.
Well,
Go
my
full on
intention,
G.G. Allen.
my intention is to leave a closed casket.
So you want a closed casket because you're going to be in bits?
I want a coffin full of bricks to represent a body that was never found.
You mightn't have any problems. Hard enough looking at you now.
Yeah, right. Did I just teach everybody something by accidentally?
No, you didn't teach us.
Accidentally.
No,
Accidentally.
No, Richie did.
Because he googled it.
You were the
and then hold on, there's just one thing here that says there's photos of the place. I didn't get them, but one of the comments under the photos is these photos hold extremely chaotic energy. Can you only imagine what the photos are like? All the coffins there, dead people.
That's nothing compared to you scroll through Daft in Dublin 4 or Dublin 2.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
A kitchen converted into a studio apartment, like.
With 4 bunk beds in it.
I mean, you've to push a double bed out of the way to open the oven.
Like literally, there'd be 4 bunk beds in the room, and in the centre of the room there's a hot plate, and then one of those third world clothes washing machines that you pump with your foot. Slum landlords, man, we're going back to it. Tenements, baby.
It does seem to be going that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, with co-living.
By government design.
Yeah.
But you know, this year,
This shared accommodation thing,
That's an accident waiting to happen.
It's just a scam to bring the size of units that they can sell.
But
There
you
was
know,
a-
It's like the chocolate bar thing, you know. They're not going to bring the price down. They don't want to bring the prices down.
They'll make the bar smaller.
They'll just make them smaller and keep the
Exactly.
prices there.
Exactly.
Because it's all about the profit.
But the thing
And every single thing to do and related to government, it's all about profit for somebody.
well, this year alone, there was more applications for planning permission for apartments to be built ever in the history of the country.
Yeah, and if you're building apartments, it's not a small venture.
It's a bad sign, though.
Yeah.
But this is based on this notion that the homeless crisis is caused because we don't have enough places for people to live.
No.
That is a fallacy. Now, people will say, oh, you're talking about all the holiday homes, which is, there's a lot of them. There's over 170,000 empty houses around the country. And yes, they are inaccessible places and everything else, but they're not necessarily the ones I'm talking about. The ones I'm talking about are the ones being held on to by banks, by hedge funders, or
By people who just aren't getting what they want for it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they're
And asset management
holding on.
agencies.
And there's some people holding on to blocks, because there was
Okay, but are they
sales by
not
NAMA.
entitled to do that because it's their property?
Yes, they are entitled to that because it's their property, but you have to look at the knock-on effects when all these people do it. Because if one guy does it, he's considered a scab because he's getting less than what it's worth for the property, which then all the speculation the bank did on that property as part of a...
There are enough empty properties in every town and city in this country to house everybody, and then some.
Yeah, but see, therein again lies my big problem with this.
Private
If
ownership.
this is private ownership, we
But
have zero right to say to somebody, you must rent that out to
But
somebody.
a lot of it is in the sense of private ownership, but it's privately owned by hedge funders.
That's fine, still privately owned.
Yes,
Yeah.
but these are people. These are vultures who were, by the way, invited by our own government, by our own Taoiseach, in person.
Yeah.
He went over to America and literally sold our country to them.
Calls them over.
Look at all the money you can make in
Okay,
property
but here's the
over
thing:
here.
who originally owned the buildings
But these funders were allowed to come in though and buy properties that weren't put out to the public.
Okay, but
Through NAMA.
who originally owned the properties that were sold off by the government in the United States?
Failed developers.
No, no, I'm not talking about the sales in the United States. I'm saying that our Taoiseach went over there and told them, look at all the money to be made over here.
Okay, and so who owns the properties? Were they NAMA properties? Were they?
NAMA,
Yeah,
a
NAMA was taken over.
A lot of NAMA properties. Like, if you look into NAMA, the amount of money that's been squandered there, properties that were taken off developers and then sold back at a fraction
Of the price.
cost.
And look, and I agree.
And now all those properties are back up on those values. So twice with the same property, the taxpayer has been riddled twice.
Okay, and I agree totally with you when you're talking about NAMA. But what pisses me off most about when people talk about, you know, properties being vacant all over this country, those properties are belonging to an individual or a party. And if that is the case and it's a private property, we as citizens of this country do not have any right to tell them what they can and can't do with that building.
But that's only part of the problem.
But should
the
it not
biggest,
be-
The biggest part of the problem that we have now is, again, government policy. Because
They shouldn't get involved. They make
What?
everything worse.
Oh, what do you mean? Hold on. What do you mean they shouldn't get involved?
Any industry in this country where the government has stepped a foot in, they have made it worse for all
Okay,
involved.
so where in this situation have they stepped foot in? Are you talking
They
about
created the
NAMA?
National Assets Management Agency,
So you're talking
an
about
agency
NAMA.
separate from the government that they created and gave all the power to take in all these properties from failed developers,
Mm-hmm.
turn a profit, sell them back, buy them back again then from the same people,
Sell
and
it-
then sell
selling
them back
them
again.
to
But
the same
this
people.
This is undisputed, and we know about this. But the thing that made this
Yeah, sorry, but I know
the
it's
big problem
undisputed, Frank. But
was-
just bear with
no,
me
no.
bear with me 2 seconds. I know it's undisputed, but we have to
no,
remember
but
is
this
we
is
have
diff- this is
listeners who
diff-
don't
this is-
understand.
no, but this is a different
who-
point.
Yeah, but we have listeners who don't understand who NAMA are. And what
right.
type of organisation? So I know it's a conversation between us guys, and we understand that.
Yeah.
But can you just, Richie, can you just explain to the people who don't understand what NAMA is, why it arose?
It arose basically, the bubble burst in 2007. There was thousands of massive building operations that were just stopped in the tracks because they had nobody to buy them after they were finished. A lot of people went bust, and the banks kind of swung a cradle, and then there was all these assets, and the government like, we're going to create an agency to take control of all these and liquidate them to make some money back for the taxpayer. And all they did was sell them off to their buddies,
Okay.
who then sold them back to NAMA when the market moved, and then when the market moved again, bought them back. Like, for instance, they double dipped.
Okay, so when
Yeah.
when something is liquidated, obviously it's sold off at a lot lesser price than it would be sold off
Yeah.
less,
less
than
than its
market
value.
price.
Yes.
Yeah, but what they did was double down on that.
Yeah, but so what they did originally was liquidated the properties and sold them off to foreign investors. Yes.
In some cases, they sold them back to the people who actually sold them to them in the first place.
Yeah,
And what was the reasoning behind that?
make loads of money.
So no, explain that to us.
So a developer goes bust, they sell their whole portfolio to NAMA, and they get a price for it,
Okay.
right? Then they go away. The selling price from NAMA then goes down again, and then they sell it back
Oh, I see. Because
to the developer.
No, for a
And
moment,
that has
because
happened.
for what I thought you guys were saying there for a moment was that NAMA were jacking the prices up to sell them to vulture funds.
No. They were dropping them down.
But a lot like that was a while ago, and that is important. But the one single thing that made this problem as big as it is, and it's going to continue to make it bigger and bigger. I projected when this whole thing started, the bank crisis, I said it'd go to 30, 40,000 homeless before anything is actually done. Now they say it's 10,000.
There's hidden homeless as well.
The real figure is probably closer to 15 plus.
Yeah.
Homeless people.
Yes, but
Now,
this-
what do you
this-
can you quantify or qualify what homeless means?
Well, hold on. Before I do that, can I say the one move by the government was when they went in to protect the tenants in situations where they might be overcharged or whatever else, and to put in regulations so they can't be taken
Price
advantage
fixing.
of by exactly.
But that caused
they said we're going to protect the renter by doing this, but we're not going to do this for a year. Now, reading between the lines,
And when
that's
was that?
telling-
When was that?
That was
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Was
So
it?
that's in play now.
It's in play now.
Okay.
But what happened then
In only
was
in rent control zones.
reading between the lines, every landlord in the country was told, you have 1 year to get your
Prices up.
price fixed, and then after that, you can only go up by 2% a year.
in a
Okay.
rent control zone, which
so
are very
if
few.
you're now getting 400 a month for your property or for whatever it is, you throw these people out and you put it up to 700, then that's where you start from.
Okay.
But if you stay at 400, that's where you start from.
Okay. And where are these
So
rent controlled
that-
zones?
Dublin city centre, different parts like Swords, Swords Town Centre would have one, and then just say you're living in the other estate, you could be outside that rent control zone.
And how do estates or areas qualify to become that specific type of thing, like a rent
the
control?
prices, where the highest market prices are.
So that's where they want to control them. So if you
Just
were,
for
if,
renting.
if you were to go to somewhere just off the cuff like Roscommon, where rent is reasonably cheap,
Yeah.
Rent is now right across the board, and this is unprecedented up until very, very recent times, where the rent on a property exceeds the mortgage on that property.
yes.
Now, and it exceeds it by a bit.
But that's
quite,
been,
quite
that's
a
been
bit
the
right
same
now.
for the last, say, 5 or 6 years.
No, it hasn't.
It's the last
no,
3 years.
That is within the last 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
And,
Basically-
and most of it is a direct result of this
policy
of pretending to protect the.
It's like if you were trying to protect a
tenants.
person, you're like, I'm going to get you a bulletproof vest, but in a year. So lads, if you want to shoot now.
Yeah, so let
all
me
you
give-
have, all you have to do is look at, since they announced that they were going to protect the tenants, who has gained most?
Landlords.
Of course, the
Exactly.
landlords, yeah.
And another
have,
thing-
have the tenants gained anything?
There's a
No,
few
no,
points
no,
we've-
they're
A little
losing.
bit- it's a little
They're
bit,
clearly
It's a
losing.
little bit like the children's referendum.
Yeah.
It was a children's referendum, but the children actually got nothing out of it.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
We're kind of spiraled out of a point,
So-
and the original point I had to make was, it was about, we're talking about house sizes. If you want to adopt a dog, they'll come around and see if you have enough space for that dog. But
Yeah.
if you want to put a child into social services or whatever, there's children who've been living in B&Bs for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Not the same B&B.
Correct.
They're not allowed to play in the halls, they're not allowed to be seen in the courtyards, they're being kept away, and like there's that. But when you're talking about what's the criteria for being homeless, I would say the criteria for being homeless is you either don't have a lease or a deed in your name,
Okay.
or you don't have somebody who is caring for you, just say a parent, someone of your kin that doesn't have a lease or a deed.
And thank you very much for that, because that would be the exact same sentiment that I would have.
Yeah.
Because in this country, as we know, we're screaming for the last how many years we've a homeless crisis, You go over to, and I know I'm going to play a game that I hate, I call you guys out on all the time.
The
which is
whataboutism.
The whataboutism. But when you do look at the rest of the world, our homeless rates are so damn low. It's almost not a problem.
Right.
And not
I can understand your sentiment there, right? Saying compared to everybody else, we're
10
doing
years
pretty
ago,
good.
10 years ago, we had no homeless problem. The homeless problem was...
It was
general.
more mental health and
Yeah,
societal
exactly.
issues that
Yes.
caused them to be
Now,
homeless.
And that's what I was going to get
Within
at.
the last 10 years, 90% of the people who have become homeless have become homeless
Working class families.
because of the banking crisis and every crisis that's been thrown at us since
And the
then.
way rent has climbed, and there used to be a thing that, like you said earlier, when you go to Roscommon, it's not as economically active, so therefore there's less expected markup on rental properties.
And of course the repossessions.
Yeah, but the
And
biggest
the new court that was put in place by the government specifically to deal with those repossessions, because the court system that we had wouldn't have been able to deal with it. It would have collapsed. under the
obviously
weight of it.
because there was too many.
Exactly. But that...
But do you believe a person should be repossessed from a home,
No.
even if they're not paying their mortgage?
There are exceptions to all rules.
Okay, well,
But-
what
so-
we'll do is we'll come up with a very general scenario
if
here.
we look back to the start, we bailed out the banks, number one.
Yes, we
So
did.
They're number
European
one,
banks.
Number one. We paid more than half of the entire European bailout.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Now, that cost was put on Irish homeowners. Mm-hmm. But that bailout pretty much paid for every mortgage in the country.
Yeah, but does that
And
give,
every
does
mortgage-
that give
and-
an individual the
and
right
on
to
top of
refuse
that-
to pay for their
and,
home?
And on top of that, every single one of those mortgages would have been protected by insurance.
Of course.
So the banks have now got two payouts.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the bailout and they've got the insurance from every single
failed
Oh,
policy.
the PPI
Mortgage.
insurance and that.
Yeah,
and now,
look,
and
I agree
now
with
with
that,
another
Frank.
now with another 20 years still tax free under this agreement, they're now going for a third strike.
Well, I
So
agree.
going for a third payment on each mortgage.
Bear with
in
me
the
a second
country.
when I say this. I
And
agree
that's the
with
reality of it.
I agree with that the banks are assholes and they make their money, but that's what banks are. They're assholes that make money.
Yeah.
But if you're living in a property and you decide to stop paying your mortgage for a year and you're getting warning after warning after warning after warning,
you don't engage.
there has to be a point where people come to that house and remove you from that home because it is not your home
Yes.
until it is fully paid
Yeah.
for. So with all of the repossession videos that we see going around,
But
it breaks your heart to
But
see
there are
family
people-
being
there are
thrown
people-
out.
There were people who are paying and communicating and doing their best and giving everything they have.
Paying the interest, not paying the mortgage.
Yeah, but see, there's problems, right, where people have refused to pay their mortgage because they just say they take out an EBS mortgage. This happened. This has actually happened to people I know. They have an EBS mortgage. I know a guy, he had two mortgages because they remortgaged an inherited property to renovate a current property, right?
Okay.
And he'd finished paying off the extra mortgage and his current mortgage was still ongoing. And he got a letter through the post one day to say that his bank had been liquidated the portfolio of which the bank had gotten the mortgage from had been liquidated and sold on to some American firm. And they're wondering, could he clear the balance on his mortgage?
Okay.
That was their first question, to which he said, no, there's no way I can clear €40,000 tomorrow.
Okay.
And they said, right, well, we've remortgaged you, and you're on this rate now, and that's it.
Okay.
And he hadn't agreed to it, and he went to court with it, and it got thrown into a massive case with everybody else because they all went through the same.
Big long
Class action.
It all bottlenecked into one massive court case.
So this was used as a class action suit, was it?
Yeah.
No, not a class action suit because it was less than 50 people or something. There's something they didn't meet the criteria of.
Okay, so who won?
The banks. It was either take this new rate or
I'm okay with that.
But he'd 80% of his
I don't
mortgage
care.
paid.
I'm still okay with that.
Now he'd to pay the rest of it on a different rate.
But I'm assuming the property would have been sold and he would have got his dividend out of it as well.
No, that's the thing. If you haven't finished paying the mortgage, there's no dividend paid to you.
Of course there is.
No, they'll take the whole lot.
Oh no. They're factually.
The mortgage I signed up for,
You're factually incorrect.
the one I signed up for, maybe not with him. The one I signed up for, there's no dividend until final payment.
If you have €2,000 left on your mortgage and you don't pay it,
Yeah, I lose everything I put into it.
well, you need to get a solicitor to look at that because that's definitely unconstitutional.
No,
Has to be, man.
no, it's not. I went through it with the broker, and the
Brokers will sell you bullshit.
I went through
You
with the
know
broker.
this.
I went through it with the solicitor. I only got one mortgage offer.
Have you any comments coming in there, Mr. Lynham?
I have a bit of stuff here.
Please, go ahead.
Just a little bit. Shane Greville has a really good comment. He goes, Ed is the camera. He is the camera. We're seeing what you see. It's being projected through your eyes, this podcast.
This is why I'm so mental.
I actually have a friend here that I haven't seen in years, and he's actually listening to the podcast. It's kind of mad. And he said, love the setup, guys. It's all really good. And he's listening. He now lives in Portland in America. He's listening all the way.
Yep, we have another American.
His name's Dominic. So shout out to you, Dominic. Big time. And I have another friend. I don't know why. I haven't.
Portland, Oregon.
The camera. My friend of mine, he lost his father 18 years ago today. And I texted him and I said, I really connected with my father yesterday. Life is so precious, that. So, very nice. Very nice thing.
Oh, sweet stuff.
Sorry, I got a bit, yeah. Ken Walsh says the housing crisis could be sorted. And in fact, councils, if we're given money for years to open up all the boarded houses.
Okay, so let me tackle that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I have problems with these issues.
He also says go on the boys.
Every single person that I have dealt with has said to me, not every single one, most of them have said to me, we can deal with it really easy. It's just build houses, just build more houses, just do this. And like, none of these solutions work because at the end of the day, if we are going to build houses, we have to now build them to a spec that
they're
is
affordable.
so goddamn high standard that the houses are so expensive to build as well these days.
A lot of the
modern
bullshit and
buildings
red
aren't
tape
right now.
is to do with efficiency. The problem is the EU keeps reinventing the wheel with what the standard of efficiency should be, right? Car manufacturers can't keep up with the Euro emission
Yes, I
standard.
understand that. But they're
Listen-
doing it out of a good place.
It's not.
It's
It's,
safety,
no.
man.
The problem with the EU is they've gotten control, and to keep the control, they have to keep changing the bar and regulations on every single little thing. It's just you see the film Brazil,
Yes.
and you know in Brazil when they want to fill out that form, and everybody freaks out because they have to fill out the
Yes,
form.
Yeah.
The 735B form. Oh no, that's the EU to me. The EU is that film Brazil. People getting plastic surgery while terrorist attacks are going on in the background, and that was
Okay.
made in 1980.
Still,
Like the EU has 28,000 pages. They've documented it's 28,000 pages on the legislation towards cabbages.
do you do it? What?
Yeah,
What-
28,000 pages on the specs
on the
and
subject
terms and
of
conditions
cabbages.
of cabbage.
Okay, probably a bit overboard, but I still believe the regulations need to come in, and we need regulations.
But what's wrong with Ireland that has an Irish problem
we don't
that
need
wants
the
to sort it out
regulations to
ourselves?
coming from
Well,
from
we
the EU.
signed up for it.
No.
Democracy, baby. We signed up for
Those
it.
retards in the Dáil signed up for it in 73 when we joined the EEC.
It was the Lisbon Treaty.
Yeah, but none of us agreed to that. It was voted
It was the
twice.
second time we agreed to it.
No, we didn't agree to it the second time either.
Yes, we did. It
It
passed
got in
through.
the second time it went round.
I don't believe that.
Well, but yeah, see, what you're doing is the whole Trump Biden thing there. I don't believe it. Just
I don't
because
believe that a
democracy
guy who
won
had
out.
7 rallies won in a record turnout. He had people who were 115 years old and registered as
wasn't
dead
a
voting
record.
for him.
I've seen it. I've
Yeah,
seen all
look.
the anecdotal evidence. I still have not seen anything.
And we still have
concrete
the
yet.
other,
Race isn't over.
the second part of
No,
the
no,
show
not
to
over.
get into our
And actually, I
conspiracies.
saw figures today.
Actually, you touched
I
on the
regs it.
subject there, and it's a
Lads.
little point of that I might correct you on it a little.
Please.
But you said democracy, and I have a little bit of a gripe with the idea of democracy and the idea that we live in a democracy.
Doesn't work.
Explain.
I think what we live in is the exact opposite.
A bureaucracy?
No. We live in. To me,
autocracy.
the opposite of a democracy is what we have. We have a party political system.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, just give me a minute here. With the party political system, your pyramid of importance. Number one,
The party.
the good and the survival of the party, first and foremost.
Okay.
Then the people who help you get there. Then big businesses, corporations, foreign governments, small businesses. And then right at the bottom are the people who were taxed to the hilt and squeezed and bled to keep everything else running.
Okay.
Now, in the idea of what we have of what democracy should be, that pyramid is turned upside down.
Okay.
And the people should be at the top, first and foremost. And the good and survival of the actual people who are doing the work is the least important.
Okay, well, I think what you're overlooking there, Frank, is that the people who are, where you want to flip this around and have all of these important people down here, we are the fucking idiots who vote for these people. So that's what democracy is. We said yes to it. If we had a democracy in this room, who
But
do
again,
we think should go to the bathroom first?
But that's why I
and
make
we
it-
all vote you.
But
That's
we have
democracy.
we have party politics.
Yes, we do.
It's not democracy. Party politics and democracy are complete polar opposites.
Even
Okay.
if you look at just
And
to
you- and they
What's the
cannot-
dection-
and they-
what
but
is
they
the
cannot-
definition of democracy?
They cannot. Well, to me, it's that pyramid of importance.
Okay, see, and this
In
is
democracy,
yeah, but this is
it's
the
the people-
reformulation
people.
of English language.
Yeah.
That because you just said to me, that's what it means.
But like policy from government should have the people first and foremost in its sights, and it doesn't ever.
No, it doesn't.
It's vested interests. Who's going to make the money?
to highlight your point,
Yeah.
if you look at any of the votes since this coalition from hell came into power, it's just those three parties all side on the same way on any issue, and they have their say, and that's it, because they have a
That's it.
majority.
Yeah. Everyone else is so against.
Can I say something?
Go on.
Comment here says Richie's like that Richie is that annoying over enthusiastic prick who sits at the front of the class. Sorry, I got my words jumbled there for a minute.
I also got a message in regards to there's an unmerciful glare coming off Richie's head according to Willie Collentine.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. The shine. Ed, someone said you haven't blinked in a very long time.
I rarely blink.
Like, well done on the camera work. Your eye quality is amazing.
I'm just gonna have one big long slow blink at the ad break.
And I think that's it. Let's
And
go
do you
for
know what's
ads.
going to happen? The
I'm
ad
gonna
break's
blink.
going to happen now.
So, Billy, does your social media look like a teenager's bedroom?
What? Full of Justin Bieber posters?
No, you incompetent fool. Messy and unorganized.
Yeah, it kind of does. But what can I do about it?
Oh, poor simple Billy. Why not put all your social media in one convenient place?
But gee whiz, mister, how can I do that?
With Social QR, of course. It's easy, fast, and free.
But what's social QR?
Well, Billy, I'm glad you asked. Social QR is a one-stop shop for personal and business social media users to have all your social media in one place. Easy to set up, easy to share, and fully customizable, with your own custom QR code suitable for digital and print media.
Jiminy crickets, so now it'll be as tidy as my web browser?
So don't forget, Billy, that's socialqr.xyz. And Billy, take down the Justin Bieber posters.
Aww.
Every day, Richie has to drive 2 miles to bum tobacco from his friends. With your generous donation of only $19.20 a week, Richie won't have to sponge from his friends. Text Richie to 5210342 27591268089 so we can finally tell Richie to piss off.
From its rich traditions beginning when the first AM radio transmission was broadcast in the year 1900 to present day, where radio is still the most listened to form of media and the #1 source for people of all ages to enjoy their favorite music and discover new artists. Sure, the technology has changed, but the concept has stood the test of time throughout history. From the end of World War II,
General Eisenhower informs me that the forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations. The flags of freedom fly all over Europe.
to the falling of the Berlin Wall,
Our top story. The Iron Curtain between East Germany and West Berlin has come tumbling down.
to the U.S. entering the War on Terror,
None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you. Good night, and God bless America.
generations across the world are united by music as it transcends all language barriers. It brings everyone on planet Earth closer together. We at iStreamRadio.ie understand what radio has done for the world and would like to thank radio for its 100 plus years of service. Radio has been here through thick and thin. Thank you, radio.
Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. You will what you imagine. And at last, we create what you will. Don't wait for the right opportunity. Let us create it. When the virtual world of the internet, ideas, dreams, and concepts have become a reality, now is the time to bring your idea to the digital world. MilestoneMedia.ie offer a full range of digital services such as web development, hosting, audio, and visual services. Inspiration has a new platform. MilestoneMedia.ie. Experience the difference.
Tired of getting more screwed over than your cousin Jesse's pig? Sick of those uppity cowboys over at the Irish Insurance Federation? Is your vehicle being overpriced because it's undervalued? Does your annual quote leave you feeling sicker than the morning you woke up beside your sister? Well, leg it down to Leggett Insurance. Leggett Insurance is the answer to all your insurance needs. Bored off the road? No problem. Old lady turf you out and you gotta move your collection of lawn art? That's okay. Underage? Well, shit, that ain't your fault. Our unique style of cover provisions includes a real insurance disc to put in your windshield and the understanding that if something goes wrong, you use our groundbreaking policy. Run as fast as you can before anyone gets your wrench. The golden rule is to make sure you pick up any bits of your car left behind so you can't be identified. Your one-off payment of $29.99 annually provides all of the above. And for an additional $40, we provide you with a full windscreen worth in your very own Leggett disc holder. Just call us on 2800 Yeehaw! That's 2800 Yeehaw! Sail through that checkpoint today!
Itchy, smelly scrotum getting you down. Worried about ball sweat on the dance floor? Well, worry no more. New sandalwood and lavender scented Man Ponds has your nutsack covered. Our unique smell-inhibiting fibrous wadding ensures your most repugnant odors are kept to yourself. So next time she drops the hand, you can feel confident it's not into a vat of nut soup. And don't forget, you can be the sweetest smelling stud in the nursing home with new Man Ponds Twilight Edition for seniors. Order our economy size 86 pack today on manponds.org. Man Ponds, because you don't need to smell any worse.
The Supernatural Dogshit podcast is controversial and confrontational and may cause offense to some. Listener discretion is advised.
And you're all very welcome back to the Supernatural Dogshit podcast. Live, back for the second half. We're going to be doing conspiracies. Yeah,
We back.
One of our favourite topics. Richie, why in the name of Christ?
Well, hold on, nobody can see. Let everybody see first.
Wearing a beanie.
To alleviate the glare.
Oh yeah, because there's a glare off his bald head.
No, Willie.
Yeah, I think of the lighting of dim there a little.
Yeah, there's not much of a shine now, Frank.
Speaking of which,
Hello.
next chance you get, will you knock off the on-air light?
Yeah, I will do that right now, guys.
Because they can see we're on air.
Yeah, but I think that just kills the room, lads. That's fine, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
That's
okay.
nice.
But now there's another shine.
But nobody, you do know it still says back soon.
You're not quite as shiny now, in fairness.
Come on, like, hey!
You're not as shiny. No.
Yeah, no, Richie, look, there's definitely less light in the room now with the hat on. For sure.
I need to cover my shame.
Go on.
There we go.
Dechrome that dome.
Oh, to have hair.
Don't worry. Told you.
It's kind of mad.
to abuse it.
It's kind of mad that everybody can see us. Yeah, so guys, keep the comments coming. The guys are flat out in the commenting here. We're on Facebook. Share on our Facebook. Oh, as Richie says, don't share.
Don't share.
Instagram, Spotify, Podbean after the show.
Don't share any of that either.
If you want to see what our little... Oh, we changed our bios on supernaturaldogshit.com.
Yeah,
it's really nice. Guys, what's the phone number? 085 2727212. Yeah.
Text or WhatsApp and give those videos a share, or I will come kidnap your first child and throw them into the river.
And who wants to come and win €20 with head-to-head Ed for 20 quid?
Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it.
Bring it
Come on. There must be somebody. Even my friend Dominic, he's listening all the way from Portland in America. Do you want to come and play? We can have you on.
Well, here's the thing, and I've just thought of this because I'm a fucking genius.
Okay.
So, if nobody does, but I want you guys definitely text in 085 27 27 212. I want you to come on, but if you don't, want to go double or nothing, Frank?
Ooh. That'd be 8.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Double or nothing?
Oh. I reckon we take that, and sorry guys, you've lost out.
I could do that. If
can we do that?
If nobody calls in, yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
because think about it. There'll be no delay. It'll be perfect. It's a perfect even match for the two of them.
Yeah.
Double or quits. Double or nothing.
So double or nothing. Wait,
no. You know what, guys? Comment in and let us know if that's what you want to see.
Yeah, exactly. Comment in. But if we do get a genuine contestant, unfortunately, that's just the way the show
goes.
That's
fine. No.
We have to give somebody the opportunity.
But how fun would that be?
No, like I said, only if you're stuck. If somebody calls in, give them.
Can we make a new game?
What's the new game?
What's the new
Break the bank with Frank.
Does that involve sledgehammers and maybe a couple of armored
if you
vehicles?
beat Ed, you can go double or quits against Frank.
Beat Ed?
Yeah, and you know Teresa, who was on against you before?
Yeah.
She was listening last week and she goes, Frank's a tank on head-to-head. So, sound Teresa all the way. Now we have a camera again. Hello. So she's all the way in Missouri watching.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we're worldwide, you know. We've got international fans out there.
So
anyway.
Now that it is the second half of the show.
No, socialqr.xyz, Richie.
Thank you.
All your social media, one-handed QR code, socialmedia.xyz. It's a website you go onto and you can consolidate any media you may have online. Anything. If you're a band and you have a merch site and you've all your URLs, like just say you have a merch one to go to your Vimeo, one that goes to your SoundCloud. You can get it all on one handy social QR code. You can stick it on your gig posters and you can put in all your merch, and people can go and follow your stuff.
How well has he perfected that?
I know, because he says it every week.
Yeah, I know, but he's great at it.
It's like remembering the lyrics of a song.
Yeah, but he just does it. No, but he doesn't say the same words every week.
No,
he changes it up a little bit. He has his own little...
knows it.
Well done. And shout out to Scott and Corey, who made the website for sponsoring the show. You guys are legends.
Awesome.
So...
Yeah, now that we're in the second part of the show,
Bye.
I'm going to be a complete and utter unprofessional here, my friends.
Okay.
So, no, I'm not going to do the standing up. So, Frank and I were just having a quick conversation in the kitchen. So I know what you're going to say next. He's going to go.
It sort of threads into a few conspiracies.
Yes, it does, and I think it's a great opener for it. Yeah. But during that opener, I think you should explain it to the lads because Mr. Doyle never urinated.
You're going for a whiz.
I have to wee.
And I know you have another task.
I do have another task. Yes, I have another task. Okay. I'm going to do both. I'm going to do 3 things at once, and let's see how quick I can be.
So I'll just
He's the fastest poop in the West.
No, do you know what? Take your time because I can have a mic for a few minutes.
So,
look at you in the driving seat.
On the topic of conspiracy theory, right? So, one which is very easy to deal with, and that's the conspiracy of chemtrails.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, for anybody that doesn't know, there's this idea that there's jets of pollution coming out of airplanes around the world.
The streams you can see.
And the narrative tells you that it's just
a contrail.
It's just a contrail. Now, it's very easy to spot the difference between the two because a contrail will be the same size. It'll be the same length behind because...
And it dissipates pretty quick.
It dissipates at the same rate going across the sky.
Okay.
So a contrail will be same size going across the whole
Depending
sky.
on the altitude.
But a chemtrail will stay all the way through. and it'll expand.
And for how long? It could be there for
A few hours.
6 to 8 hours.
It can stay for a different amount of time.
I've seen these images of the planes with the things inside them.
This is this is no longer a conspiracy theory,
Right.
Because this is openly admitted, and not only are they openly admitting that they're doing it, they've openly admitted that they've been doing this since the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so if you take
trying
that,
to control
if
the
you
weather.
take that on board, basically they've admitted already, out in the open, that they've been manipulating weather and weather patterns for
4 decades.
50
decades.
years.
Wow.
Okay? Now, if you take that into account, changing weather patterns. Now, we're told in today's society that we have to be taxed because of global warming and the carbon and then it's going to kill us all. And the way to protect us all is to tax us.
Yeah.
Right? But
Well, they're clearly going to take that money.
I'm not saying that this is absolute, but it's logical to me that this idea that we've been sold that is global warming is nothing more than a different name put on the picture of weather manipulation, which they openly admit they've been doing for 50 years.
Yeah, I think Aiden was explaining to me that.
So if you look at correlation between when this global warming came on all of a sudden and how important, when it became really important,
out of nowhere,
So if you look at the correlation there's definitely a lot of questions to be asked. But the fact that they're doing it is not in question anymore. So this was a conspiracy theory, which is now proven to be absolutely 100%
real.
accurate.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Aiden who was saying to me that global warming is a lot of bollocks, and that's what he believes. But it is happening, but it's not the way that it's.
But if you look at all the things that are happening, and you take into the account that they can actually manipulate things, they can increase or create at this stage even and redirect hurricanes.
Yeah.
And there's the HAARP, the HARP program,
High Altitude Aurora Research Project,
which is now closed and shut. And they admitted, we were doing all this stuff, but we closed this down. Now, when they close something like that down, that means they already have something else in place.
Well, they had a mobile pontoon of that.
Or somebody else got it. But HARP was very dangerous. It was a series of antennae fields strategically placed around the globe. There was hundreds of them, these sites, and it was the High Altitude Aurora Research Project. And what they did with HARP was they bounced massive EMF high frequency waves into the ionosphere to push the ionosphere out a little bit further than where it should have been.
Just for those, what's the ionosphere? I don't even know.
So as you go up through the sky, you have like the stratosphere, the ionosphere, the magnetosphere. These are all these like it's like if you look at the globe and all the magnetic phenomenon that happen, like with their own like magnetic, like the Earth, it's got North and a South Pole, and it radiates.
I know this.
Of the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's just one of the levels of the atmosphere.
The ionosphere affects weather, and what they're doing is if you push it out here, it comes in tighter here, and it changes way winds move, the way water holds its humidity, like the way. Like
and if you add that in with the actual chemicals that they're actually spraying into the sky and the effects that has on them,
barium and aluminium,
and the aluminium, which I was saying to Aiden there earlier on,
it's toxic for your brain.
And not only that, but there was a report given on now I think this was in 2000. If I may be corrected on the year, but I think it was 2008. Or it might have been a little later, but a woman gave a speech at the United Nations talking about this. It might have been later than 2008 now, actually, that's what I'm thinking of. But she gave a speech talking about this chemtrails. And it was the first really open talk that I'd come across at this level. And she talked about it openly and what was going on. And not only that, but what was happening as an after effect of this, because you said the aluminum or aluminium, whatever you want to call it, is coming down. It's getting into the groundwater, and then it's been taken up by the roots of plants and trees.
Yeah, it's all in the earth.
According to this woman, there was studies done in at least 2, if not 3 states in America that showed that this effect is actually, and what it's doing is it's reducing the roots' ability to take in moisture.
Okay, and
so it's actually slowly
drying out the trees,
slowly killing the trees with thirst. really.
But see,
it's doing
normally,
slowly.
normally with a chemical effect, something similar to what you're talking about, in small dosages, it would take a long time to see the outcome of whatever this is. So how long has this study been going on? Is it the past couple of years, or 10, 20 years?
Well, she openly said that this study was done on forest and trees, like I said, 3 states.
Okay.
But she said you could take this as a countrywide situation, because this stuff is coming down from the sky everywhere.
Another gripe.
And that's here too, you know. All you have to do is look up every now and again, and you can see it. It's happening.
Another gripe I have with all these climate alarmists, that's all they are, they're alarmists. And a lot of the things as well is if you want to do a study and you want to get money, they're only putting money into anything to do with climate change. So if you want to study the patterns of mating patterns of red squirrels, you're not going to get funding for your paper. But if you say I want to do the study of red squirrels because of climate change,
they're getting funding now to fix the problem of climate change by doing what? Using chemtrails.
Yeah.
What?
Yep. Using the chemtrails to put more stuff up in the atmosphere is now the plan, or one of the proposed plans for tackling global warming.
Yeah,
which
global cooling
could
plan.
argue was actually a big staged event by their actually weather manipulation.
Create the
first
problem,
place.
have the solution, and problem-solution reaction.
Exactly.
Thing, all tied up into one. But with the climate people, I have a big gripe because according to Al Gore, circa 2001, we should be all underwater right now.
Yeah.
And the bar keeps moving, the posts keep changing, and the change is very different.
And
very
we were
late.
supposed to run out of oil as
Yeah,
well.
the fuel crisis, yeah.
But I've another kind of big gripe, and it's to do with it's just fear mongering. It's general fear mongering. Like if you look at the average human lifespan,
all you have to do is look at the world right now today. You know, look at any newspaper, and they'll tell you how many deaths and how many cases there were today and yesterday and the day before. And it's fear. If you look at the numbers from the start of this, and you look at the stages where the numbers.
when you talk about coronavirus,
Yeah, you can see a very evident story if you take in all the
statistics,
the facts and the figures, the statistics, and they will show you that what we are now dealing with in a lockdown stage 5 is so way overboard. It's astounding that people are actually falling into it.
Well, that's a nice little segue that you have there.
I just want to get back to the point about climate change. It's just human lifespan averages at about 70, 80 years. How long has the planet been here?
Millions of years.
Right.
A lot longer than us.
How can we guess that we've been looking at for 50 years and we've noticed this, and we look at previous weather patterns? Who's to say it's a fixed thing? Who's to say there's a standard?
Core samples.
But who's to say what's standard? How is everything supposed to stay the same forever?
No, see, I think what most people get confused on with the whole climate change is my big gripe with it is what is man's involvement in climate change. Clearly, we do have some sort of involvement in climate change.
All we do is release a bit more carbon into the atmosphere.
But the Earth has been cooling down and heating up and cooling down and heating up for many, many years, and we can take the core samples and we can see that.
Yes.
So what I believe is happening now is quite natural, but what an awful lot of people forget as well is that when the Earth was first forming, when it was a big massive rock, and there was volcanoes spewing out noxious gases and carbon dioxide. And it was those gases and carbon dioxide that created a heavy enough atmosphere for us to live in.
Yeah.
Now we don't have as many active volcanoes in the world as we used to have. So I personally feel, this is not science, but I personally feel that we have took off where nature, we have stepped in where nature left off.
Yeah.
So in other words, less volcanoes, we need to produce carbon dioxide to sustain an atmosphere for us to live in.
It's not the dioxide that's the problem, it's the monoxide.
Say that again, F?
We could probably do with planting more trees. Or more hemp crops, whichever
we could
is more
stop
efficient.
chopping them down.
But here's the thing, if we plant more trees, where's the trees going to get the food from if we're not producing carbon dioxide?
Yeah, exactly. This is
gonna
what I'm saying.
It's going to take all of our carbon dioxide out of the air and we'll have no atmosphere. So we can't
No,
have one without
actually
the other.
trees do produce carbon dioxide at night.
Okay, I
Just
get
a much
that.
lower level than
A much lower level,
oxygen.
but not enough for them to sustain their own life.
Yeah, but you see now they're trying to bring in a meat tax because of all the greenhouse gases cows and pigs and lamb give off.
Doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't affect
But
me.
the problem with that is the way we've corporatized farming. You look at like factory farms and feedlots and stuff. Like you've separated the animal from their food, and then you're like gathering all their shit. You know what I mean? Like you're like it's farming practices have to be looked at as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of just taxing everybody. I'm just sick of it always coming back to a tax.
Well, of course, it's always about money, but let's bring it
But,
back.
but what are they doing with these taxes?
Hold on, 8 months.
I just want to say something. How do you feel about this? Someone says, I watched a programme about climate change because we were on that topic, and if we don't do something fast, O'Connelly Street will be underwater by the year 2050. Do we believe this?
Bullshit.
That's what I'm asking. Is it bullshit?
It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
It's bullshit. There's a great film out there. It's called Climate Change, a Global Swindle.
The only way that will happen is if the volcano on La Palma goes. If there's any seismic activity there, there's a side of a mountain about to go into the ocean,
And
the wave,
that will raise.
the wave that will create will maybe flood Dublin.
Well, one of the interesting things that you have to keep in mind as well, you know, when we're talking about the polar ice caps melting, so polar ice caps that are already in water. You do the experiment where you have a glass of water, you put ice cubes into the water, and it's full to the brim. The ice cubes are out over the top of the water. When the ice cubes melt, the water does not overflow.
Now, there's a thing here.
So
you have to remember.
What I'm saying is, when they melt, it's not going
What
to
you have to
rise.
remember about the polar ice caps is they're not all in water.
That's
They're
what
on a
I was
landmass.
just about to get to. The ones that are on the landmass is the ones that are going to cause us the problem, not the polar ice caps.
There's something
themselves.
that we can all, in this room and in this locale, can take solace in. Is if you go on Google right now, if you're at home, don't come off the podcast to do it. Google predicted landmasses after every single glacier and ice cap melts. Mullingar is still above water. You're going to lose a lot of Galway, a lot of Cork, a lot of Limerick. All the Shannon Basin is gone. Dublin is gone.
But that's if both polar caps.
Oh, they will eventually at some point in time do it. But the big...
Because as much as they're going on about the northern caps, so they're melting. The southern caps are increasing in size.
Yes. There's another thing people have
and they're not mentioning that at all.
The real threat of ice caps melting is actually in the salinization of all the oceans.
Yes.
Because
that's fresh water.
It's salt water in the oceans.
Yeah, but it's fresh water, the ice caps.
And
it'll
upset the balance.
It's not the balance, it's the ice cap. We have all these currents that run across the earth, like the Labrador current.
Oh, and their temperature.
And the Gulf Stream, right?
Yeah,
and when the ice caps...
The waters themselves stay in their separate areas.
Yeah.
Because they're different... The actual water molecules are a different structure.
Yeah.
They're a different type of water. And when, you can see pictures of this.
Where the two oceans meet.
Where the two oceans meet. And they're
one's dark, one's light.
Yes.
Color.
So I've seen undersea waterfalls.
Yes.
I've seen undersea lakes.
Yes.
Yeah. Because the chemical composition is clearly heavier.
One is different.
Heavier than
But when they melt, they'll dilute that salinization, and you will have that effect then where you've diluted the oceans to the point where they can start to mingle, and you lose your currents, and currents will change. And that's where, if Ireland loses the Gulf Stream, we are going to where Finland is in terms of snow coverage all year round. Like,
wow.
Cheers, we'll be closed down for 6 months a year.
Yeah, no, I was just looking here. If all the polar caps did melt, we'd lose Amsterdam, Copenhagen, a lot of Ireland, the east of London's all gone, Helsinki's gone, Stockholm is gone.
These are all predictions.
But predictions.
But Mullingar is forever.
But Mullingar in the Midlands is actually Gucci.
But that would take.
We're good.
All of the ice.
It would take a huge hosepipe ban.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, I'll bring you back to the fact that we might be losing ice on the north, but it's gaining on the south.
Yeah.
They're not losing anything in the south at all. So this idea that the south is going to melt somehow as well.
Yeah.
I don't get the thread.
I think the biggest...
I don't get the connection there.
The point we're missing, I think, with pollution is we have to stop looking at what they're trying to sell us and what they're not telling us about, which is the microplastics in the ocean. Because we eat what comes out of the ocean. We don't necessarily eat the atmosphere.
Microplastics, the radiation coming out of Fukushima still.
The whole Pacific Ocean at this point in time.
What's the deal with the microplastics?
There's so much microplastic. Like, do you remember when you get like a nice scrubby face wash? All those beads are tiny beads of plastic.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
India and China are accountable for 70% of ocean plastic.
Okay. Yep.
Those two countries alone are responsible. There's one river.
The plastic eventually breaks down, but it breaks down into tiny
pieces. But see, the thing is, if you get a bottle, a plastic bottle, and throw it into the ocean, it is going to take thousands of years to break down.
About 100
to break down completely. But the problem is,
it's longer than 100 years, man.
Yeah.
Much longer.
100
it might still look like a bottle in 1,000 years' time, but that has shed so much tiny fractals of plastic.
You can have microplastics coming out of the bottle that you're drinking out of.
Yeah. See, I have a big problem with it. I'm assuming you've seen that. I think they call it Plastic Island.
Yeah, the Pacific gyre.
Okay, so this is just...
And it's not just
toxic
one,
garbage island.
There's at least 3 or 4.
Anywhere there's a gyre, that's where the ocean currents converge.
There's one in the Caribbean.
But I don't believe this. I believe this is all bullshit. And let me explain why. Is because one of the pictures that I saw was this massive, and I mean a fucking massive, it looked like the size of Ireland, floating around, and it's all supposed to be plastic. And a guy came along and he said, hold on a second, if you want to take a picture of that entire piece of mass, you would have to be you would have to be in space to see that. And we haven't taken photographs of these things from space.
We've Google Earth, don't we?
Yes, but
if it's that big, you should be able to see it on Google Earth.
But it's not on Google Earth. That's the problem.
The problem with the mid-Pacific gyre is, right, it's a convergence of ocean currents into one spot, and that's how it gathers the plastic. But the problem is, when they're talking about the mass, there's that size of plastic there, but you can't see it. It's all a couple of feet below the surface of the water. I've seen footage of people in a trawler with nets. They're literally trawling up plastic, and they'll go all the way out, they'll fill up their nets, and they'll come all the way back in, and they'll dump it. And there's videos of these guys day after day.
Oh, you know,
of course,
it's a huge problem. But do you believe that these massive land masses of plastic exist?
I believe there's that much plastic. No, there's that much plastic in the ocean. Like
there probably is, but do you? The question I'm specifically asking and trying to get to: do you believe that these pictures are real? That they're taken of these?
I haven't seen the pictures that you're talking about. I've seen pictures from boats, and all you can see, as far as the eye sees in the sea,
very real possibility of it.
Say again.
So the logic would dictate the very real possibility of this.
Of course, there's a possibility of it, but again, there's zero proof of it.
Yeah, but if you take the pictures as proof,
you can't. You can't take the pictures as proof because the people who were supposed to take the pictures sent up drones to take these pictures. There's no way a drone could go high enough to see its entire land mass.
Yeah, maybe then some editor
you'd be surprised at how much land mass you can get with one of those cameras. And you really don't have to go all that high.
Yeah, there's calculations done,
and especially if you're in the ocean. There's no hills. There's nothing in the way.
Absolutely,
and you don't need to get that much height.
Yeah, but it could be overplayed.
To get,
I think it is
propaganda. It could be but I'm telling you now, if I brought you out in a boat and you seen the footage I saw,
I believe that.
You'd look at it and you go, shit, we fucked up.
I believe that, but I believe what they're doing is they're trying to make the problem a hell of a lot worse by showing us pictures that are not real.
They're probably a real picture, but just taken out of context. They've made the context bigger.
It's probably a much smaller pile, but they're saying it's the size of such and such.
Yeah, but when you say the size of Texas, right? That's if you quantified all the plastic in maybe an America-sized area and brought it into the size.
No, they were doing it by square mileage. And I watched, I don't know whether it was Neil...
They could have been disingenuous.
I don't know whether it was Neil deGrasse Tyson who was talking about it, but I know it was a very famous scientist who said that photograph is absolutely impossible to take because you would have to be in the outer atmosphere to be able to see that entire mass.
And I've another gripe as well when you hear the term climate scientist. It's like they're intentionally going out to find only this. And... they have to make these papers. They have to come to a climate scientist.
Okay.
And in the last 20 years, there's been an explosion of climate scientists because that's the only way they're going to get funding.
But so what you're doing is you're complaining that somebody is specialising in something?
Everybody is specialising.
Not everybody.
Every scientific, like all the major scientific studies that come out in the last 5-6 years, all to do with climate.
Not all of them.
Most of them are to do with climate. If you go the ones that are being thrown in our fucking faces.
High up there.
No,
it's over-reported.
This is my exact point, and that's what I want to get to. It's propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
Climate change is happening, has always been happening. It's going to continue happening before us. It happened after we're long gone.
Yeah.
It'll still happen as well.
You have to cease all human activity if you want to stop human carbon production. You just have to. We are a carbon producing race,
and you would have to cease all animals, all life. All life lets off carbon.
Yeah, That's it.
Every
We're
single
carbon-based life forms.
And without carbon, we die. And with the point I was trying to make to Ed earlier about the forests and the plants, our trees, our food we eat, that takes in carbon dioxide, and that's how it grows. It's our food. So without that carbon dioxide that we're producing coming out the arse end of your car, our food is going to stop growing. Because volcanoes are starting to calm down.
Is there not still sensible things we can be doing to not poison the fucking earth?
Yeah, that's pollution, as in chemical pollution.
Okay, so
we do a lot more of that. That's way more harmful than any of the gases.
Yeah, but let's stick with carbon dioxide for a problem for the moment. Do you think that we have a carbon dioxide problem on this planet at the moment?
No, I do genuinely believe it's bullshit. Well, to a certain extent. I mean, we probably do more than we should.
No.
Do you think
we need more?
I don't think we need more.
Of carbon
we need more.
In relation to the actual atmosphere, the amount of carbon humans release compared with nature itself.
Yeah, like a volcano going off.
A small fraction of 1%.
Yeah. Do you think it's like the dihydrogen monoxide
survey?
survey?
Nature itself produces far more carbon
than we will ever.
All of humanity creates,
and it will continue to do so.
And what are we going to do?
The amount of
Stop
carbon
nature?
that we're being taxed for it and being protected from is so minuscule in the grand scheme of things. It means nothing.
Yeah. Do you think that
it's a fraction of 1%?
Did you ever hear of the dihydrogen monoxide survey?
No.
These guys in America, they went out in the street and they started surveying people on the street and said, like, we're trying to raise awareness for dihydrogen monoxide. It's a solvent. If you consume enough of it, it will kill you.
Oh, we did hear this.
Oh, yeah.
It's water, H2O, dihydrogen monoxide, right?
Yeah,
and they got, I think it was 95 people out of 100 were like, oh yeah, I'm all for banning dihydrogen monoxide. There's only 5 people said, wait, is that H2O? Water. And they're like, yeah, you got it, you win. Because it's solvent.
Yeah.
We're made up of it, like, you know what I mean? It's
a bit like
widely
George
abundant.
Carlin says, you know, you use different words, you call something different.
Yeah.
And people will think it's different.
Who did you refer to?
George Carlin.
Oh, I love George Carlin.
Yeah. But he did a lovely piece on the softening of languages.
Yeah.
And he was
Show shock.
That, you know, exactly. You know,
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Direct language has been replaced by softened down version,
and that's why I was saying to you earlier about we're changing.
Like nobody's blind
language.
now; they're visually impaired, and there's nobody.
Yes.
You know,
an argument myself and Ed had was the word retarded.
Yeah.
He asked me one day we were at home, and you said
I said spasticated.
No, you said retarded. You said can you stop saying retarded? And I said to you, why? I'm using the word in its literal sense. I'm not looking at a person in a wheelchair and going, oh, you're a retard.
Yeah.
I'm looking at something that is
context.
It's retarded means slow.
He calls me retarded all the time.
But you're slow.
So where I was wanting to come in was, let's not get hung up on the whole climate change. Let's go to another conspiracy theory.
We're not finished yet. We're not finished.
Okay.
Just because you know nothing
No,
about this.
Honestly, I thought that was such an interesting conversation. There's nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. I'm just saying, let's not get hung up. We've done half an hour.
Oh, yeah.
We're fine.
Okay, just saying.
We're fine.
We're fine.
It is one of the most pressing topics.
Hit
in human
that
history.
indicator there and hop over into your own lane.
When you think of climate change, think of the fact that they admit that they've been manipulating weather and weather patterns for 50 years.
Okay, to what end goal?
To create the idea that we need to be protected from something and be taxed for it. Look, they're literally taxing every country.
So
has
financial
this
gain is what you're saying.
Carbon tax. It's a con.
So you're saying financial gain?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not
That's
like
the
they're
end goal too.
Every single thing that is put to us, and even by our own governments, everything has a price that they're trying to extract from us.
Okay, so here's a question for you. It's a question for everybody in the room and our listeners. 085 27 27
212.
If carbon is a problem in our atmosphere and we need to pay a tax so we could do some research into the best ways of this rather than just because I don't know where the money's going. I have no idea where the money's going.
They're giving it to the environment to not go mental on us.
So the question is, if there was a genuine problem and scientists, independent scientists, verified this all around the world and we were all, okay, we're in on this, would you then have a problem paying carbon tax?
Yeah.
If it was, if the tax was being used specifically for a plan that is supposedly going to fix everything.
Yes, that's
then
the question.
Yeah, but where is his plan? What is this?
We
plan?
don't.
Exactly.
But
There
this,
is-
and
there
the
is no
reason why
plan,
I'm asking
and
this
there never
question,
will be a plan because the plan was the con.
the reason why I'm
It's
asking this
control
question
and power.
is because I have not been told once where this carbon tax is going.
No.
So no TD, no
No.
politician, no US president, no Ukrainian president, nobody has said where this money is going. And I don't think there's a single person except for Richie in this room who would have a problem paying for something if we thought it was going to, for longevity of life on this planet.
We're never told where our money's going.
But the problem with the carbon tax.
When you hear taxpayer fund, it's taxpayer funded.
Of course it is,
It's
yeah.
not government funded.
Okay.
When you hear government funded,
That's our money.
it's not government funded.
Of course.
It's taxpayer funded.
Richie looks like he needs
Everything
something, needs to say something
everything is taxpayer funded.
there. Go ahead, Richie.
Carbon tax.
Yep.
You're taking a problem that was created by a handful of corporations. Like like if we're just looking at it as they're spinning it
Oh,
to us.
the top 50% of CO2 production comes from 71 people.
Yeah.
They've worked it out.
The way I'm looking at it, you're asking me
Mm-hmm.
to foot the bill for the likes of a guy who owns a coal-fired power plant in China.
Yes, I am.
You're asking me to foot the bill for a cow fart in Argentina.
Yes, I am.
You're asking me to foot the bill for a wildfire in Arizona.
Yep.
I don't buy that. We're Ireland. We're a tiny little constitutional republic on the edge of the Atlantic, right?
Who've been shown and have shown ourselves to be easy pickings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the bank bailout. We've paid more than half of the entire European
But
bank bailout.
that reduces reduces the argument down to it's an us versus them,
Which it fucking is.
No, wait. In the longevity of things, it is not us versus them. It's them versus the demise of this.
It's
Us versus the
and our
demise of the
children,
planet.
Our children and our children's children.
Yeah.
And this is admitted.
But it's
Now,
been broken down to this microtransactional bullshit where we're all paying a little bit here and a little bit there and turning the lights off here.
But it's not a little bit. Before the government went on this shambolic idea of a government that we have at the moment, they were doing business for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they went on holidays. And the week before they went on holidays, 2 things happened.
Okay.
One, you had the result of the case that we were fighting, where the European Union told us that we were owed 14.2 billion in taxes from Apple.
19 billion.
And we said, oh, no, we don't want that.
Okay.
So we fought. So we
spent 7 million
we won that case
euros
that day, right?
to fight that.
That was 14.2 billion. And that week, Micheál Martin went to Europe and did a deal for this European COVID fund, where we get something like 2.5 or 3.5 billion out of it.
And we agreed to pay back 15.
But we pay in 15 or 16.
Yeah.
So in the 1 week, we basically gave away and threw away over 28 billion euro at the cost of 6,000 euro per head, every man, woman,
And we
child
could
in
have
the
been
country.
up 3
And
billion.
They did that in 1 week, and then they went on holidays.
Okay.
The idea that any of these people have any of our interests at heart
is an absolute joke.
If anybody's
Absolutely.
thinking of that, they're just not paying attention. You know,
It's a joke, but I just so want to get back to Richie's.
Yes, go on.
I'm
Sorry.
dumbfounded
Yeah.
by.
Go on.
But you're saying.
What are you dumbfounded by?
That you said it's not my problem for this. I can't remember what you.
Why
listed
are
off,
we
but
as
let me-
Irish people
let me
paying an
finish.
international carbon tax?
Because it's an international problem.
No, it's a third world problem. It's China and India.
it's an-
They're
Yeah,
the main part of the problem.
You made a point about China and India dumping plastic. Now, in fairness,
if you look at the stats, it's not a problem at all anywhere.
Yeah,
Which-
I'm going by the confines of your argument.
Problem. That's that,
no,
that was
but
the point
we're
I was
going on.
making
Yeah, but
earlier.
we're going on the basis of my argument
Oh, I
here.
do, taking into
let's say it is a real problem.
hypothetically that this is the problem. Right.
So Richie still doesn't want to pay.
No, I think the main polluters should pay the biggest share.
Yeah.
Okay, even if they were to pay the biggest share, then they pay much more than you do. Do you still have a problem paying to make this world a better place?
Once
for
my
your
charge,
children?
yeah.
Basically,
once my proportion is lessened,
so if
by the big guys, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
that's
you're
fine.
not ignoring your responsibility
so
to the planet.
if the official story is the actual truth of the matter, should we pay? Yes.
Yes, we should.
and
Absolutely.
if you're
There's-
living carbon
there's
neutral,
little
do
or
you
no
avoid paying the
evidence.
tax?
No, because you can never live carbon neutral.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Natural carbon. I'm talking like I don't drive a car. I don't use electricity.
Yeah, but you're still not living carbon neutral. You will always produce carbon. We as humans produce carbon.
Right. I shouldn't have to pay a tax for breathing. That's a breathing tax you're looking to charge.
Of course.
No, he's right.
No. Hold on a second. Because if the breeding tax is there to prevent something further down the line from happening to our children so they can breed themselves, yes, I'm going to pay the fucking tax.
But you're looking at it way too idealistically, and you're looking at your whole argument is built on a system that's a complete lie anyway. Like, we know it's
not
bullshit.
A complete lie.
It's a complete swindle. It's a swindle.
It's not a complete. Yeah, maybe.
Here's the threat we created. Now pay us the tax money. That's all it is.
Okay, I agree.
Like you said earlier on, the best lies have quite a good modicum of truth
in them.
In it.
Yes,
but it's the omission of the pertinent facts that's usually the crux of the problem.
See,
there is a problem.
My issue is when they start trotting out children like Greta Thunberg.
Oh man, I'd love to smash her head in so bad.
I mean, that's a kid you're talking about.
That's a kid, and I would elbow her straight in the nose, man.
She should be.
But hold on a second. She is an innocent fucking child, Richie.
She was, yeah.
She's an innocent child.
She was an innocent child, and she got up in the States and said, "How dare you? You've stolen my childhood."
Absolutely not.
She was used.
She was.
Exactly, she was used.
Yeah. She was, yeah.
So
willingly used.
So would we attack a rape victim? No, we wouldn't. So why would you be attacking a 14-year-old autistic child who is being used as a puppet? We should be protecting her, not sitting here saying we should fucking elbow her in her face.
I'm saying I would elbow her in the face. I'm not saying we.
Why? Your anger is misdirected, my friend.
Oh, it's misdirected. I'm not saying it's the best thing to do. I'm just saying, after hearing her and her being put in my face, I want to smash her face in.
Yeah. Could you not be of the opinion, look at what they're doing to this poor girl?
Oh, completely. That was first thought. First thought was right.
Then why not say that?
Oh, it's just so much more entertaining to elbow her in the face.
I think that we should save this conversation for the third part of the show.
Violence is wrong, Richie.
Violence is not wrong.
Violence is beautiful.
Violence is necessary.
It's just a question, can my violence conquer your violence?
Your violence would definitely conquer my violence.
Violence.
He would kick the shit out of me. Can I drop something in for Frank?
Yes, please.
Drop a juice, yeah.
Area 51. Can we go there? Has anybody? If you're pissed off,
let's finish this and then we'll move on.
Let's
finish this and we'll
Nobody
move
can go to Area 51.
Okay. Bob Lazar can.
He went to Area S4. It's away from Area 51.
No.
Right, let's finish this. Let's finish this and we'll move on to something else. Excuse me.
Sorry, as well. Sorry, shit. Antoinette says hello, and Janice is here. I'm an Echo Warrior. I lived in the Glendon Downs. And Antoinette says hi all.
Hi all.
So yeah. So sorry. There you go. Continue, guys.
So back to Greta. What they're doing is they're using a child. They're using everything at that's in their arsenal to trick us and to make us believe that things are happening. Now, I don't know who I was saying it to earlier on.
Are we all in agreement about that? That's
psychological warfare.
It's a complete joy.
Yes, of course it is. Of course it is. But here's the problem. Let's Chinese whispers. If I tell Frank a lie, not even Chinese whispers. If I tell Frank a lie and I say to Frank, I think we had this conversation
last night.
That Nathan is a paedophile. Let's say I turn around and say to you, without Nathan's not a paedophile.
He did this last night too, but it's okay. It's context.
So let's say I said to you, did you know Nathan's a paedophile? And you went, oh Jesus Christ, yeah. And let's say you have kids, you're not going to have him around your house, but you see a friend of yours talking to Nathan. A couple of days later, you go, did you know that he was a paedophile? And then all of a sudden, the news is all around town that Nathan is a paedophile. Yeah. And here's the thing, I was lying. You weren't. And neither was everybody else. And this is what's happening within the media. There's no
and you know what? Another thing is too being told. Sorry, Frank. Go on.
They mightn't have known that they were lying, but they were still lying.
Yes. Yeah. But another thing too that me and Aiden were talking about.
Just your ignorance of the truth doesn't negate the lie.
No, but people's moral conscience and their compass normally will make them make an instant choice to turn around and say, okay, this person is a danger, I must warn other people.
Yeah.
And you're right, ignorance is no defence. Trust me, I know this for a fact, that ignorance is no defence. But I do believe this is what is happening, why they would trot a child out like Greta Thunberg and use her because she's a much more believable character than some asshole wearing a suit that's worth 20,000 euros.
Yeah.
And this is why she's being used. And I completely disagree with the terminology that Mr. Finley used.
I was wrong to say I'd like to elbow her in the
if-
face.
if-
That's just
if-
me personally.
If all the speeches and everything else that Greta gave, Greta didn't give them. We'll say a 28-year-old gave them.
Yeah. Okay.
Would anybody have taken any heed?
No.
Just some regular
No,
28-year-old?
no, and this is exactly my point. This is exactly
But
my
there's
point.
there's been such a softening of society and a mollycoddling of
It's
people.
the idea that you can inject a child into the scenario and then
Play
you,
on the
and then you
heartstrings.
can play on that and you can use that to control the narrative.
Yes.
And that was very evident back when the whole migrant problem really became a problem in Europe, because all the borders were just automatically opened, and that came from a knee-jerk reaction from a young boy, which is a very tragic story.
That photograph on the beach.
The young boy washed up on the beach. Now that was paraded on the media as this poor boy, and he was fleeing from
Fleeing from Syria.
Assad and Syria and all the bad
Pits of
things that
hell,
were happening, you know. And this is the result, and you need to open up your hearts and open up your borders, and that's exactly what they did. But that boy, although he was Syrian and his family were Syrian, they weren't travelling from Syria.
Correct.
They had left Syria, I think, 3 or 4 years beforehand, and they were in Turkey.
Yes.
And the reason they were leaving there was for their own
financial gain.
They were heading for Ireland or
for
England.
their own reasons. They weren't fleeing Assad. They weren't fleeing Syria or anything else. It was their own choices. Now, it was very tragic, but that was
propaganda beyond belief.
That was taken, and the whole narrative was created around this picture of a poor boy, and everybody was hoodwinked.
And the exact same thing is happening with climate
nobody talks
change.
about this because none of them want to admit that they were hoodwinked.
But this is exactly what's happening with climate change. But unfortunately, we seem to live, and I've said this to, I think, every one of you guys, I'm tired of suffering fools. I really am tired of suffering.
If you live in a democracy, you're going to be suffering fools until you die.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm still tired of it. I'm it happens in my daily
I know,
life.
but you're coming from we'll say the today's word would be awoke, I suppose. But for somebody, or for people who like us who question these things instead of just believing the narrative, they question things that we're labelled conspiracy theorists. But
you lost your train of thought there, Frank.
I did. I just lost.
Don't worry, I'll jump in and say it.
Right. To save the buzz, we're going to say fuck climate change. Can we all agree?
Well, not say fuck climate change.
Right.
Let's say climate change exists.
Let me get my wording
We're
right.
okay
Let me
with
get my
it.
wording right.
Okay.
Climate change exists. The climate change is in the word. Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our government and other international governments are putting measures in place to combat climate change by taxing us. We're all in agreement?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No.
That's the plan.
That's where
seems
the
to
carbon
be
tax
happening.
is for.
That's where this carbon
They're trying to
tax is,
raise.
that's what it is.
Yeah, but you were saying, are we in agreement with the fact that
no.
the government
This
is
This is what's going on.
This is the
is
reality.
Yeah, but I don't believe that's where the money's going.
No. Exactly.
No,
I'm just
it's not
saying.
going there.
These are the narratives,
this-
and we're all in agreement. Of.
Okay.
This is what's happening. Yeah.
Are we in agreement that we're being the public is being purposely misdirected for the government to gain more control in areas they didn't have control before, and it's going to lessen the quality of everybody's life?
Example.
Possibly.
The fact that petrol is going to get exorbitantly expensive because, it's producing so much carbon, you have to keep increasing the carbon tax year on year on year.
Yeah, but won't the demand go down the more
To
electric
get,
cars
a,
they
to
use?
get a really good picture of how the government works, you take a look at the health system. Okay. Now, many years ago, we had the old 6 health boards.
Yes, we've covered this
were-
before
Oh,
in the
yeah,
podcast
the
many
Eastern
times.
Health
Which were all,
Board,
which were all
Western, yeah.
now they were all brought in under the one umbrella, the HSE.
HSE.
Okay. Now, normally in business, when this happens, you have, we'll say, 6 similar companies, and they're all brought in. They're also
A merger.
and they're all brought in under the one. The first thing that happens is management gets slashed because management is centralized, and you have area managers. Okay, so that's the first thing. Management is slashed. That cuts your costs. That's the whole idea of doing this. This is the plan. This is what they do. This is how they make their money. But when Micheál Martin, our current joke of a Taoiseach,
Animated scarecrow.
he was in charge of this changeover between the old 6 health wards and the HSE.
Yep.
And what happened, instead of slashing management by, we'll say, 2/3, management went up by 1/3. Now, the knock-on effect on that is...
But they did say they were going to slash it beforehand, did they?
But this is what should have been done. Naturally in business, this is what you do to streamline and to make things efficient. This is what you do.
This is what Trump did.
Exactly. That's how these people make their money. They merger things, and because they
Make them more
centralize,
efficient.
Hence the reason why I believe in
everything,
privatising hospitals.
They can cut down costs overall and make more money. So they did the exact opposite when they went to the HSE. They increased the amount of management. So we're paying for this way, like we have at least three times more management in the HSE than we actually need to run it efficiently.
We're paying for
Now-
clipboard holders.
Now, instead of paying these people, we should be paying more nurses, more doctors.
I agree.
Have more beds. We have 10,000 less beds now than we did 10 years ago.
Yeah. And we've
And
way
the
bigger
population.
population.
10,000. Now, we had 24 then. We're about 14,000 now. And it's a wonder we've hospital trolley queues and everything, and they're giving out about that now. Oh, and they're trying to put it down to COVID. But
Of course.
before COVID, we had a far worse situation, and that's one that's building in the background right now.
Well, can I ask you a question about the whole the COVID thing? This question goes out to listeners again, 085 27 27 212.
212.
We still need somebody for head-to-head with Ed for 40 quid.
We do. No, go on. You go first. Go first. You want to ask a question? Go on. You
no,
do the
go on,
question.
go on.
But the whole COVID thing. Well, it was just Antoinette says here they use. We were talking about children earlier. They use special needs children for everything, and then when things go wrong, that child has special needs. It's been happening for years.
This is very true.
You know what I mean?
With the COVID, right?
Yeah,
I'll give you a couple of figures, right? And this is how it started off, right? When it started,
we hate COVID.
Spreading around from China. These are the figures that were given out by the World Health Organization. We were told minimum 50 to 60% infection rate,
Yeah.
and minimum 4% death rate.
Yes.
Now, they were the figures that were given out by the World Health Organization.
And what are they now?
Now, those figures translate into an Irish death toll of between 175,000 and 225,000. For England, the figures were 3 million. Okay. Now, this is what shocked us into action and shocked us into doing something and reacting to this. The thought of these numbers. Now, Leo Varadkar downplayed that number, but he still put a figure on the table of 85,000 dead. Now, the reality is we haven't hit 2,000 yet.
And again, all of this rolls back to propaganda.
But on
top of that, during the height of this, so we're talking April, May, that's when the high number of deaths were coming in and everything else, and the high number of cases. We're now back to a place where we're getting the same, if not more, cases than we were in the height of this in April, May. But the death numbers are
decreasing.
Since the end of May, since the 1st of June, we've averaged just over 1 death per day.
Correct.
And in the last month, that's just gone up to 2.
Okay.
Now, back in the height of this, we were averaging 38 dead a day.
And can we even say that these people died of COVID?
Now, but this curve and this distinction between the number of deaths and number of cases between now and the height of the infection in April, May, that same curve is all across Western Europe. In England, they've had 4 times as many cases as they did at the height of the infection, and now they're having 4 times as many cases, but they're still at 10% of the death numbers that they had then. In France, they've had 7 times the number of cases, and yet their death numbers are 10% of what they were. So the death toll has gone down steadily and it's staying down.
Well,
what we're getting now is cases. It's a case-demic, and the bar.
Yes, it's a case-demic.
The bar has success. Step by step, the bar used for shutdown has gone from this scaremongering figure and the thoughts of the huge pressure it's going to put on the health system and everything else that never transpired. And now we're looking at a percentage of those numbers, and we're back to lockdown for 10% of what we... So the bar for lockdown has been lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered. How low are we prepared to let the government set the bar for them to initiate lockdowns have absolute control of the populace?
One of the things that people underestimate or overestimated, either way, this question or statement that Donald Trump made, he said, of course cases are going up, we're testing more people. And CNN went, boo, that's a ridiculous thing to say, we have more.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. People don't make sense of what's actually being said there.
Because of who's saying it.
Because of who's saying it.
During this case, Demick, we've been testing at 7 to 10 times the rate we were back at the height of it in April and May.
So, of course, the cases are going to go up. If we were not to implement...
But 7 times the amount of testing to get the same number.
But here's the thing, if we were not to implement
cases and
any
deaths
testing...
are both down.
But if we were to implement no testing from day one, and we didn't know who had COVID virus, the same amount of people would still have COVID virus. It's only the fact that we're testing that we're realising these numbers, which doesn't make it a problem.
Yeah.
No.
It's not COVID isn't a problem.
Now
a different flu.
This curve between the cases and the deaths that I was just describing there, that is, it's a bit of an anomaly, but that is strictly for Western countries in Western Europe. Eastern Europe, they have different graphs. America, they have different graphs. Yeah. But Western Europe, every single country, all have the same graphs. High number of cases coming in now, but the death rate is a fraction of what it was.
Well, actually, Richie, you said you look like you wanted to say something, then we go to a break.
Fuck the break.
To do with COVID, like the way Frank was talking, the bar has been lowered as to what our standard is before we go into this massive lockdown. And we've picked and chose measures, as in, we've done all this, but you can still fly in from America. You can still fly in from England, right? And
a lot of Irish cases were coming in from Spain.
Not one set of measures actually, when you looked at them in full, actually made sense. They didn't add up.
I actually have a figure. In July this year, 217,000 people came in and out of Dublin Airport.
Okay.
But you're even now, you're not allowed to have... visitors in your house,
of course.
But if you have 3 children and they're going to 3 different schools, they're interacting with 90 other people and coming back into your house.
Well,
and yet,
just let Richie finish his point before we get to the break.
The measures are worse than the virus.
Yep.
By large. Look at all the cancer patients who are not going to get screened and treated. And when it does come back around normal, they're on the back foot because they have something growing inside them that's going to kill them, and they have to wait, and then they have to queue up against all the other people that are building up.
I was in a situation very recently, and I'm due for my regular checkup with colonoscopy.
Okay.
Because I had my first colonoscopy, it was 11 years ago.
Not a pleasant experience. I'm with you on that.
One every 3 years. Now it's every 5 years.
Yeah.
But I got to the stage where I was going. I had to get it.
Yeah, okay.
So my doctor had forgotten that I'm not with VHI. I had VHI before, I don't have it now. So when the hospital rang me and they said, yeah, we'll have you in and we'll have you on such and such a date. And they said, oh, you're VHI. And I said, no. And so then I was given the cost, which was around €1,200.
Okay.
And I was thinking, I'm going to get €1,200. But...
Are you still in that situation?
No. I've got the colonoscopy.
Oh, good, man.
I've got the money. But that's brings me to my story. When I had my first colonoscopy, there was something in the toilet that made me go to see my doctor. My doctor referred me on for colonoscopy. Thankfully, I had the VHI at the time, so I saw the doctor, I had my colonoscopy, and had the results in about 3.5 weeks, which was great. I had 3 polyps, which were taken out, and 1 was cancerous.
Wow, Jesus, Frank, I'm sorry to hear that. I never knew that.
But
Is this years ago?
But I was very fortunate.
How long ago was that?
This was 11 years ago.
Oh, God, okay.
But I was very fortunate in being told that I had cancer right after I was told it was actually taken out.
Oh, fantastic.
So-
Yeah, very lucky.
And like I got it just as early as you could.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate. Now, skip on 10 months, and I was coming home from work listening to...
Supernatural Dogshit?
Something like that, exactly. And there was this lad talking, and he was talking about the health system and everything else, and he described his situation, which pretty much identical to mine. 10 months beforehand, he had a little something that he thought, right, I'll go to my doctor, and he was referred on for a colonoscopy. This was 10 months later, and he had just got his letter to tell him when he was going to see his doctor.
Okay.
In a week or 2 weeks. But that was just to see the doctor, not to get the procedure
Yeah.
necessarily. So that was probably another couple of months.
So that manifested over that time.
That man had his problem, same time I had my problem. I had VHI and he didn't.
Right.
Now, if those roles were reversed and I didn't have my VHI,
could be
and
dead.
I just went on my list, on a list, and waited a year, I know now
You'd be dead.
that cancer was there. I know that for a fact. And I also know if I didn't have my VHI at the time, that would have had a year to do its work.
A death sentence.
Before
Yeah.
anything was done. That discrepancy between that man and me
Was just one.
should not be. It is not right.
Brilliant point.
And the state of our health system is the reason for this. And this is not done by accident. The health system we have hasn't got to where it is by accident.
No.
By admission, there is no need for a private health system if you have a state-of-the-art, fully functioning public health system.
We'll get to that after the break, but before we do, sorry, Richie, you did have something to say there. You were saying something there
About the measures.
Yes.
We haven't seen the full effect of the effect the measure is going to have. We have children that have spent nearly the guts of a year of their life, and at 3 years old, a year is a long time. That's a third of your life.
Of course. Yeah.
And they've spent it not doing things that 3-year-olds should get to do.
Yeah.
That generation, if we continue living in fear of a virus,
They're
which
going to
we
be so closed in.
they're going to be very closed in. And if a child has autism, right, I know there's a big thing about autism and the spectrum of autism and stuff, but if a child has autism and they go a short period of time without the correct attention, that creates a massive problem.
Spiral.
Yep.
And autism is on the rise. But everything pales in comparison to this fear.
Yes.
Absolute fear. The people in Wuhan and China where this broke out are not living in fear. They're back to their normal everyday lives just with a mask on.
But here's the thing, I don't understand why people are all of a sudden fearing death when we all know we're going to die in anyway.
Yeah.
You could get a smack of a car, you could die of cancer, you could die of many things. And something you brought up earlier, which really stuck in my mind. So all the lads know here that I have...
Like I said with that bar, they're
It's
lower.
getting lower.
They're lower in the bar.
Exactly.
They're telling people this is now the bar to be afraid.
Well, in April of this year, actually, I was diagnosed with lung disease. This year, they told me in like January, February, they said to me, Aiden, you have lung disease. And I was like, oh, that's not good. I said, okay, when was this figured out? They had figured it out a year beforehand. And I was walking around with lung disease, smoking cigarettes like a lunatic, and they never told me. It was my GP who went, oh, sure, yeah, that's why you have chest infections all the time. You have lung disease. And I went, excuse me? I said, why wasn't I told this? And they said...
Yeah, but why does it take so long? What is the...
No, it was all there. Just nobody told me.
Why?
I have no idea. Nobody told me. But
A glitch. So, like, but is this a once-off, or does this happen all the time?
But here's another thing.
Okay.
So, you know, a couple of months ago in April, I went in to have another CT scan of my lungs. And on the day, they said to me, okay, we're after finding a lump in your lung. So I said, what is it? We don't know yet. I've been in the hospital 4 times. They still don't know what that lump is. I've had that since April.
You see
a growing lump in my lung.
Whether it's an X-ray or a CAT scan or a CT scan, whatever it is. It's not so much the scan that's important. The important thing is who's looking at it.
Exactly.
Now, I've had back problems on and off, right? But I've had X-rays done. I've had CT scans, and I've had doctors come out and say there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
The last time was actually after a car crash. Myself and my son were involved in, and we were treated at the hospital. Then we had to go to our GP, and then we had to go back again. So we were told to go back to the A&E, and we went back, and my son got further X-rays done. They reread mine, and the doctor came out, and she sat beside us, and she says, "Well, there's nothing wrong with you." And I said, "Sorry?" She says, "There's nothing wrong with you." And I said, "You can't say that." And she says, "Excuse me?" I says, "You can't say that." I says, "You're dealing with two people here that are in pain. You admit that, and you believe that we are in pain. And all you can tell us right now is that the people you have looking at these pictures
can't see anything,
can't discern anything specific. That's all you can tell us.
Yes.
You cannot come out here and tell us there's nothing wrong with us."
I was once sent out of hospital with a fractured spine, told it was wind.
Yep.
We'll come back to it. We really got to
Yeah,
go.
we really gotta go.
But before we do go, I won't read out the person's name, but the person that said, "My son also has autism, and this lockdown is killing the joy and our laughs, and I'm calling for a revolution."
It's on its way, people.
There you go, guys. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's on its way,
Right,
and
back
we'll
up.
be back to you in 5 minutes.
Bye-bye.
So, Billy, does your social media look like a teenager's bedroom?
What? Full of Justin Bieber posters?
No, you incompetent fool. Messy and unorganized.
Yeah, it kinda does. But what can I do about it?
Oh, poor simple Billy. Why not put all your social media in one convenient place?
But gee whiz, mister, how can I do that?
With Social QR, of course. It's easy, fast, and free.
But what's Social QR?
Well, Billy, I'm glad you asked. Social QR is a one-stop shop for personal and business social media users to have all your social media in one place. Easy to set up, easy to share, and fully customizable, with your own custom QR code suitable for digital and print media.
Jiminy crickets, so now it'll be as tidy as my web browser?
So don't forget, Billy, that's socialqr.xyz. And Billy, take down the Justin Bieber posters.
Aww.
Every day, Richie has to drive 2 miles to bum tobacco from his friends. With your generous donation of only $19.20 a week, Richie won't have to sponge from his friends. Text Richie to 521034 to 7591268089 so we can finally tell Richie to piss off.
From its rich traditions beginning when the first AM radio transmission was broadcast in the year 1900 to present day, where radio is still the most listened to form of media and the #1 source for people of all ages to enjoy their favorite music and discover new artists. Sure, the technology has changed, but the concept has stood the test of time throughout history. From the end of World War II,
General Eisenhower informs me that the forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations. The flags of freedom fly all over Europe.
to the falling of the Berlin Wall,
Our top story. The Iron Curtain between East Germany and West Berlin has come tumbling down.
to the U.S. entering the War on Terror,
None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you. Good night, and God bless America.
generations across the world are united by music as it transcends all language barriers. It brings everyone on planet Earth closer together. We at iStreamRadio.ie understand what radio has done for the world and would like to thank radio for its 100+ years of service. Radio has been here through thick and thin. Thank you, radio.
Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire. You will what you imagine. And at last, we create what you will. Don't wait for the right opportunity. Let us create it. When the virtual world of the internet, ideas, dreams, and concepts have become a reality, now is the time to bring your idea to the digital world. MilestoneMedia.ie offer a full range of digital services such as web development, hosting, audio, and visual services. Inspiration has a new platform. MilestoneMedia.ie. Experience the difference.
Tired of getting more screwed over than your cousin Jesse's pig? Sick of those uppity cowboys over at the Irish Insurance Federation? Is your vehicle being overpriced because it's undervalued? Does your annual quote leave you feeling sicker than the morning you woke up beside your sister? Well, leg it down to Leggett Insurance. Leggett Insurance is the answer to all your insurance needs. Bored off the road? No problem. Old lady turf you out and you gotta move your collection of lawn art? That's okay. Underage? Well, shit, that ain't your fault. Our unique style of cover provisions includes a real insurance disc to put in your windshield and the understanding that if something goes wrong, you use our groundbreaking policy. Run as fast as you can before anyone gets your wrench. The golden rule is to make sure you pick up any bits of your car left behind so you can't be identified. Your one-off payment of $29.99 annually provides all of the above. And for an additional $40, we provide you with a full windscreen worth in your very own Leggett disc holder. Just call us on 2800 Yeehaw! That's 2800 Yeehaw! Sail through that checkpoint today!
Itchy, smelly scrotum getting you down. Worried about ball sweat on the dance floor? Well, worry no more. New sandalwood and lavender scented Man Ponds has your nutsack covered. Our unique smell inhibiting fibrous wadding ensures your most repugnant odors are kept to yourself. So next time she drops the hand, you can feel confident it's not into a vat of nut soup. And don't forget, you can be the sweetest smelling stud in the nursing home with new Man Ponds Twilight Edition for seniors. Order our economy size 86 pack today on manponds.org. Man Ponds, because you don't need to smell any worse.
The Supernatural Dogshit podcast is controversial and confrontational and may cause offense to some. Listener discretion is advised.
And you're very welcome back to the Supernatural Dogshit podcast live for this Thursday evening. It is the third half of the show.
We back.
We are back.
We're back, bitches. So before we get into Anton, guys, everybody who's watching right now, click the share button. That is all we need. Just click the share button. Share it. Why not? Yep. Share it. Everybody has heard it. They know all the social media. We do all the good stuff. We're on Spotify, we're on Podbean, and we're on supernaturaldogshit.com, we're on Instagram. You know, you've heard it hundreds of times. YouTube, you guys have all heard it.
We're everywhere.
We also have to announce next Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday, we have a guest. Another one. A musical guest.
I confirmed another guest today, but he's also a musical guest, but we'll get more into that closer to the festive season.
Yes, so and we have also...
a competitor.
No, we have Dana something. I can't. Sorry, dude, if you're listening to the show. We've another guy coming on. He does TEDx talks.
He's done TEDx.
He talks about education, how the education system is all wrong, and how we can teach dyslexic people because they're the most downtrodden in the in juvenile detention centres. Brilliant guy, brilliant mind, great way of educating people, and I think it'll be really interesting to meet. To talk to.
What's his name?
Because I can't. Don't put me on.
It doesn't matter because we didn't even say the other guy's name. So
we'll leave it.
I have a suggestion for you for a guest.
Yeah.
A singer-songwriter, musician friend of mine.
Oh,
okay. He's involved with another project that's going on.
Would his initials be PM?
No. Would they be Y?
YM. But he's involved with another project in town here.
I think he watches the podcast.
Promoting local music, but it's all original artists, original music by artists, local artists.
Oh, very good.
So they do. They've an new upload every Saturday.
Nice.
It's Wolfshire Productions. You'll find them on YouTube.
And
it's Midland Voices.
Have you spoken already about this?
No, but I
can give a shout out for the show.
I did say
who wouldn't want to come on this podcast? You know,
but, he has a lot of great original songs, and he's good for the banter. He's good for the talk. So I think he'd be
brilliant.
Fantabulous.
It'd be good to have on.
Yeah, we do have several guests lined up. You need to continue doing it.
Next Thursday is I don't know. He's a small artist in town. His name's Declan Colgan, and he'll be on the show. and he sings my kind of music. He sings like sad Justin Bieber songs.
Don't say your kind of music, because we're gonna write it off straight away.
If you're getting a Colgan on the show, it can only be Owen Colgan.
What?
Oh, Buzz Colgan from fucking Hardy Books.
From Hardy Books.
Oh, for God's sake.
I want him on the show.
I did not get the joke there whatsoever.
Yeah, I know him.
Hardy Books, that was a good show. And you know what? Quite accurate to because that was set in Swinford in Mayo, Swinford, and there was a bit of it in Charlestown as well.
Yes,
but and I spent a couple of years. I was in school up there, and in those two towns, and the way the locals would go on and about. Now your man, the dealer guy, he was very much caricatured. But the rest of them,
he's a Steigo boy.
Pretty much bang on. Yeah.
So, Frank, I have a question for you.
Wait, before you do that, Richie, our sponsor, socialqr.xyz.
Socialqr.xyz, all your social media in one handy QR code. If you go on the website, socialqr.xyz, you can get QR codes to consolidate all your online media into one handy little QR code. You can put it on posters, on your merch, you can put them on little stickers and stick them up everywhere. People will scan them and be brought to all your social media online.
I'd like to make a point on that note, because that is so well done. And when you sponsor us, you get Richie.
Yes.
I will read your ad in any way you like.
Yes. And do you know how Richie gets paid? With
space talking.
With love.
Yeah.
With a bit of love and a few hugs every now and again.
And sleep deprivation from drinking all the coffee.
So because Frank is our very special guest tonight, Frank, I'm going to start with you. Normally in the third half we do just go crazy and talk about weird sexual stuff, because this pervert always brings stuff up.
Yes, he does.
But
I'm a pervert.
we didn't cover that many conspiracies, so I'm going to ask you, what is your favourite conspiracy, and one to which you think holds most water that has evidence to support its validity?
Well, one of my pet peeves is the sweetener aspartame.
Yes.
And you see,
you drink a lot of Pepsi, don't you?
This is the grail for a lot of people, and people, dieting and everything else. And it's great to keep off sugar, because sugar is the demon apparently, and the devil at this stage. But in the last 30 to 40 years, the prevalence of sweeteners as such has it's gone to
exploded.
It's gone to a stage now where it's actually it's actually really difficult to get a cordial drink or a soft drink that doesn't have aspartame in it.
No added sugar.
As a sweetener, like if you get, we'll say, the likes of MyWadi, you'll get the regular, and you'll get the no sugar added. Aspartame's in both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a replacement for sugar, so I would be in both of them. And if it's a replacement for sugar and everything else, why are they putting it in the likes of Lucozade, the sports drinks, the energy drinks? These are glucose drinks. Glucose is sweeter than sugar, so why would they need to be putting a sweetener?
I have a question for Frank.
So you've got to the stage now where you go into your supermarkets, and I'll challenge anyone to this, in Lidl and Aldi, none. In Tesco's, there's one that you can get with sucrose, not the aspartame and aspartame. And I think there's 2 or 3 in Dunn's, soft drinks, the cordials, and there's maybe 1 or 2 in SuperValue. But that is everything else.
But what's your issue? What's your issue with aspartame?
When it was put for release as a sweetener, it was put to the FDA and it was rejected.
Okay, on what grounds?
Because of the list of side effects that came with it.
Do you know any of them offhand?
One of them was the one that glared out amongst them all was depression.
Really?
Depression in 40% of people who ingest aspartame.
Do you know about his
list of psychological and physiological effects of this? Now you can check this up. If you look at the FDA,
good or bad?
FDA, no, it's not good at all. The list of these side effects is
look it up there.
Serious.
Good. This is what I wanted to hear. Do you know about his Pepsi use?
The FDA aspartame you have to go to before 2000.
Okay, before I do that, do you know about his Pepsi use?
We did discuss this.
Yeah,
He drinks about 2 litres at least.
And the worst is
He's convinced it's fine.
Diet Coke.
Well,
it's arguably the worst drink.
You know,
on the
Pepsi
market.
Max is the original Coke Zero.
I've got people off. Women, they love the diet drinks, and so many ladies over the years I've got off the likes of Diet Coke.
Diet drinks in general.
Drink, if you've got the sugar version there, go for it.
Well, see, my thing was I used to drink lots and lots of Coca-Cola, and then I moved over to Pepsi Max because Pepsi Max has no sugar and it has aspartame. I went, actually, that doesn't taste too bad. But then I stopped taking sugar in my tea. I used to take 6 sugars in my tea. I would drink about 20 cups of tea a day. 6 sugars, multiply that by 20. I was a fat bastard. So I cut that out. So what you said that,
but like a normal person, 2 sugars in their coffee or tea
is perfectly acceptable.
Maybe a tablespoon for a bowl of cereal.
So what?
Aspartame is linked to serious health problems.
It is.
Okay, can you tell us what they are?
Cancer, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, seizures, strokes, and dementia, as well as negative effects such as intestinal dysbiosis.
Okay.
Dysbiosis, mood disorders, headaches, and migraines, which you both get.
Yep.
Yeah, but I have Kerry malformation.
These lists,
you might be exacerbating it.
Could be.
There's some people mightn't get any of these things, right? But if you get one of these things, you're going to go to your doctor and you're going to get treated for that.
Okay.
But you're not. The underlying cause will not be addressed, and therefore the problem will continue.
It's like you've something that keeps going on fire.
Caught in a cycle of medication and doctors and everything else.
You're just putting a band-aid on a fucking
wound.
Exactly,
because the underlying cause isn't being addressed.
Now,
and the prevalence of these sweeteners, aspartame, and there's another one, acetylflame. They're currently trying to change the name.
Yes.
So people don't recognise it as easy. But
when they use
this is in everything.
When they use the words non-artificial flavours in it, did you know that means there's MSG in it?
MSG is natural.
Because it's natural, yeah.
But you have to just look at any sweetener, anything to do with replacing sugar. You have to look at what was sugar's role in the first place. So you have polysaccharides, like a starch.
Like when I was growing up, sugar, like I had sugar in my cereal, I had a very sweet tooth.
I had sugar on bread.
Still too. Sugar. It was never a big problem. When did the sugar become a big problem?
When we became obese bastards.
When the corporations knew that they could put this sweetener in everything and get paid for it.
Right. Well, Richie, you want to say something?
Demonize the sugar and put this in everything.
You sound like Joe Rogan now, by the way.
But that's what's happened.
The point I was trying to make
reality.
is the way our bodies metabolize sugar. Right? So it comes in 3 common forms. A polysaccharide. A saccharide is a single kind of thing, like so. Starch, like potatoes, like rooty vegetables would be full of starch. Bread, it's there, and you have amylase in your spit, and that breaks it down and into maltose and all these enzymes that break it down. Then you get a disaccharide and a monosaccharide, and raw like cane sugar would be a monosaccharide. Glucose is a single saccharin thing, like so it's really sweet, but it's fuel for your cells in your body. And when you replace that with a toxic substance such as acetylsulfamine K or aspartame, your body tries to metabolize it because it's gotten all the receptors in the brain and said, right, I've detected sweet, get the insulin ready. So your body has an insulin spike and nothing for the insulin to react with. And you've all these enzymes that are being made and are not working on stuff.
I'm assuming then that would have huge ramifications for diabetics, would it not?
Yes, and huge ramifications for your endocrine system.
Which is?
That you're making stuff that it's like you've got the signal that there's stuff coming in, so your body makes stuff to deal with it, and it's not there, and your body has all these enzymes that haven't reacted and not working away.
And they're just festering
So
away.
then your endocrine system has to send stuff out to break the enzymes down.
What is the endocrine system again?
It's how your body, like, it's all your hormones and enzymes and like how your body like does. It's all in your little thyroid and parathyroid here in your throat.
Okay, just for people who don't understand.
I barely understand it and I'm trying to talk about it, but the problem with the likes of these sweeteners and artificial things is like Frank said, sugar was never a problem until they had a product they could replace sugar with, and they wanted to sell to people.
Climate wasn't a problem until they wanted to sell it to people.
That's
Exactly.
what we're getting
And
at.
they did
There's-
that with
the race war.
And they used weather manipulation to do it.
The race war in America at this moment in time wasn't a problem until they decided to sell it. Did you know that pre-2015 it was the most peaceful time in America?
Yep.
In history. It was just a really sweet time. There was I was showing Nathan videos of pre-2015 where blacks and whites were working together. They were seeing themselves as one community. Black people saw themselves as equal, and then something changed. And that something that changed was that kid that was shot. What's that?
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin.
If you look back at it, if you look at it in an action and reaction sense, but you look at it in reverse, everything, there's orchestration behind.
Have you seen the Trayvon Martin documentary?
The documentary, no.
Okay, you should watch it. And please, listeners, watch it.
For all of us who haven't heard, just give us what facts it gave you.
Okay, so Trayvon Martin, the quick version of the story is, he was a kid that lived in a private complex. He was walking around. He had a cell phone in his hand.
Oh, that was the neighbourhood
Yes,
watch.
the neighbourhood watch
Yes,
thing.
yes,
So he's
yes,
on the
yes,
phone,
yes.
and a guy sees a black guy wearing a hoodie walking around that he didn't recognise. He got out of the car and he rang neighbourhood watch and he said, "There's a black guy. I don't know who he is. Could you send the authorities over?" So he was following the guy, but the guy on the phone said, "Are you following him?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Don't do that. You know, you could get yourself into danger." And with that, you hear Trayvon Martin shouting at him a lot of obscenities. So with that, there's a struggle. Trayvon Martin beat the fucking shit out of this man. Now, when I say beat the shit out of him, go look at the pictures. The gun, as the guy was lying on the ground, not Trayvon Martin, the other guy, as he was trying to get away, he tried to slide between the legs of Trayvon, which lifted up his jumper, and Trayvon saw that he had an open carry license because he had a gun. Trayvon took the gun off him, there was a struggle, and the guy shot Trayvon Martin. So this was just reported as, you know, one of those things that pre-2015, a black man getting shot by the police wasn't amazing news.
The last one was only a couple of months ago. The bloke who was suffocated by the cop,
George
Floyd,
which was all bollocksology.
Now, but that month,
He wasn't suffocated by the
that
cop.
month he was one of I think 12 black people who were killed by the police that month. And the first one was a young boy. He was an army cadet, and well, at the end of the day, they killed him.
Yeah.
But why did they pick him at that stage?
Because it suits the narrative. Because
Exactly.
it suits the narrative. And this is why I'm going, no.
I have some facts and figures off the top of my head, the
when
white
you-
and black.
When you look at the
me.
instigation, and that's what I was saying about these things being created.
Yes, and this is why I'm talking about the Trayvon Martin case. So the documentary that I watched, there was a guy who was an investigative journalist, and he was looking into, okay, why now is there such racial pressure in America when it wasn't there before? And he started looking back through the history of it, and there was a particular guy who was running for governor in the state where Trayvon Martin was killed. And this one governor decided to say that it was a racial attack. And he forced the media to say it was a racial attack, when in actual fact the man was just defending himself.
So it's just a self-serving politician.
But from that, the Black Lives Matter movement started. And then Democrats went...
And funded by who?
The Democrats.
And George Soros.
But the Democrats went, ooh, hold on a second, we usually get the black vote. We can use that an innocent black man was murdered by a white supremacist. So what they done was they formed this group, and every single case of a black man being shot, whether they are armed or not armed, in the middle of a murder, in the middle of a rape, Black Lives Matter put them up on a pedestal and say, here you go, this is another innocent man being shot. When the truth of the matter is, it's not innocent people being shot. It is exactly what it was in 2015, only again back to the propaganda.
Let Ed speak.
Ed has been dying to say something.
Hands up.
Well, can we not go on the theme of conspiracy theories? This is just run off from Operation Mockingbird, where the media is just misconstruing everything and just causing pandemonium and panic.
As I was going to say earlier,
To what end?
the facts and figures from 2019 are cops killed around about 237 black men in 2019.
Yeah.
They killed over 650 white men in 2019.
There you go.
What?
But the cops, like,
they're saying
instances where the control has just been completely lost. Like, I saw there was an incident, and this was videoed. There was actually a half an hour of video of this poor man. He had mental problems. The police knew him. He was a local man. They knew about him. No, there's a white man. He was
okay.
He would have been in his 20s or 30s, I think, maybe 30s anyway. But cops were called, and they'd known about him before. They knew he had mental issues, and yet they started beating on him, and then they started tasing him, and then a few more cops arrived, and they started beating on him, and they started tasing him, and that repeating of beating and tasing lasted for a half an hour.
What did he do though? Why were they doing this?
Just because he was a disturbance.
But what was he doing to disturb? I haven't seen this. Sorry.
I don't know, but the amount of violence inflicted on that man, like, and it lasted for 30 minutes.
Is that a bit of an exceptional case though?
Yeah, and most likely it's an anecdotal case.
It may be an exceptional case, but there are more exceptional cases than you might think that are actually out there. But in this case, they eventually bet him to death. The man died, and there wasn't one single officer held accountable for that. It was deemed necessary force.
Okay.
For over a half a dozen men to beat and tase a man for a half an hour.
To come off your point,
you know, so the level of violence, that's just an indication of the level of violence. But the use of violence on black communities for political purposes is a very good documentary on Netflix, actually, and it deals with the rise of the Bloods and the Crips. But it goes all the way back to the 20s on how the reaction between the police and the black community instigated each step in the right from where they were with no power at all to getting to gangs, to political stages with the Black Panthers, and then the eventual rise of what they have now, the Bloods and the Crips, where the entire city is just carved up. But each and every stage was created.
Of course it was.
As a reaction to the police force that was used mostly unnecessarily.
Okay, Richie?
You're talking about the loss of control with the police, and the Black Lives Matter movement at the minute and the Antifa movement are calling for the defunding of the police. That's the opposite is needed. The police need more funding. They need more competent police officers.
Yes.
Like, the bar needs to be raised.
Yes.
Just as I'm looking at the American problem from all the anecdotal evidence coming out. They need to raise the bar for the standard of recruitment,
and
that
standard bar has been lowered repeatedly over the years
to meet demands from politicians.
So what you're saying is they need stricter regulations?
No.
Sorry, I'm just going to fix something. I have a caller who wants to call in and argue, so I'm going to sort it out.
All right.
They need to train the police officers properly. Right? When you see 12 guys who can't handle one person, not one of those persons was trained properly.
Correct, absolutely.
And that ties in nicely with the whole gun control over there. Because they say they have a gun problem because so many people have guns. That's not the problem. The problem is so many people without proper training have guns.
Yes.
Now, you have a case in Switzerland where by law, as an adult, you are legally required to own a gun.
In case the Russians try and come across the line ever again.
When you do but they do national service. So
mandatory.
Every single, so you have a case in Switzerland. If you're a thief or you want to go and rob somewhere or do something illegal, right? You have to take these two things into account. Number one, every single person
is armed,
has the potential of being armed. Not only that, they are all trained how to use those guns.
Yeah,
well, that's what Switzerland told Germany during World War II, though.
That is a correct way of dealing with having an armed populace, and an armed populace is a very important thing. And the Americans,
like the whole Texas,
the Americans have shown us this and taught us this. The importance of having an armed populace if your government go against the people.
Yeah.
And you see, like if you had those sort of people in Ireland today, what would they make of our government and what they're doing to this country and the people in it right now?
Yeah.
And what they've been doing consistently, year after year, term after term. We've had Party politics for 100 years. Where has it got us?
Oh, fucking nowhere.
Exactly.
Nowhere. But just back to your
because it's
back
been
to
sold,
the
because it's been sold, like George Carlin said.
George Floyd.
You change the name and you change what it is you're looking at. And this idea of democracy that we're given isn't democracy. It's party politics, and party politics is control, and that's all we've had.
Well, you've seen the George Floyd video.
Yes.
Yeah. So have you seen the full length George Floyd video?
Yeah, it's the full 38-minute long video.
Not the first. No.
Do you believe the officers in that video behaved outside of the law?
I believe they used too much restraint.
No.
They could.
I don't think so.
You need to
No,
watch.
I haven't watched
You
the video.
need to watch the whole video, and this is the problem why people are these days being taken out of context is a huge thing.
Put it into an MMA context. Okay, you like in boxing, you have rounds and everything else, and somebody knocked down there, you've 10 seconds to get up and whatever else.
Yeah, one's not a criminal.
But in MMA, you have boxers, and this is consistently done. They'll go in and when somebody's down, they could be knocked out, and this has happened time after time. A man has been knocked out, and they'll still get 2 or 3 hits.
But the rules are you keep hitting until the ref stops you.
Exactly, but that's dependent on the ref. What I'm saying is, if this man is knocked out, you stop hitting him.
Yeah, but the whole thing about the George Floyd thing was he died he ingested fentanyl. He was trying to hide his drugs, and he ingested them. And in the time it took for him to be restrained, the fentanyl took hold, and fentanyl.
He was belligerent because of the drugs that he was taking. Have we got a caller online?
He wants to come argue.
Who is it?
Who is it? You need to tell us.
His name's Robert.
Hello, Robert.
Is Robert on the line? Is he? Hello, Robert. Hello, Robert.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Have you got this on in the background?
Stop the video in the background.
Yeah, Robert, if you can hear us, man, if you can just stop the video in the background there, because we're getting a massive loop back.
I'm trying to hear now, Thomas.
Just get a hammer and smash it.
Yeah.
That's much better. Can you hear us now, Robert?
We can hear you.
Fantastic. So who exactly is it that you want to argue with?
I suppose all three of you. Fuck it.
Okay, so
All three.
Five.
Thanks.
There's 5 of us here.
So first of all, what is it that you want to argue about? What part of tonight's topic is it?
To be honest, you seem very pro. You seem very pro Trump. You seem very. Would I be right in saying you're a Trump man?
I am indeed. Yes.
Was Trump mentioned? He wasn't.
No, he
mentioned this.
Briefly.
But anyway.
No.
I mean, I think I've listened to a few of the shows now.
Oh, right.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay.
He is pro-Trump.
Yes, I'm pro-Trump. So what is the argument?
So the argument would be more so to defend yourself as opposed to myself having to put you at it.
Can I take a little crack at that?
No, just bear with us 2 seconds.
Okay.
Jump in.
No. I'm just trying to figure out where is it that you disagree with us. Did you ring in to agree or disagree with us?
Agree.
Oh, agree. Okay, so which?
Oh.
Okay, so which part of it is it that you agree with? Because we spoke about it a lot.
I suppose it's a dismantle the fiduciary protections for the retirement savers that gets to me more than anything. The elephant.
Okay. Elaborate on that.
Can I get you to take your phone off speaker if possible? That would be great, Robert.
Exactly. I'm using my Bluetooth.
Oh.
You hear that? All right, sorry.
Just a bad connection. That's all, Robert.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's only live radio.
Well,
he's sorting
not
it out.
radio. Is he still sorting it out?
I think so, yeah.
Long time listener,
dear
first time
God.
caller.
Can you hear me there?
Well, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead, man. No.
Robert.
Hello.
No, can you hear me there now?
Yeah.
I took off the 3G. Right. So we'll get down to it, right? You seem very pro-Trump. You seem you're a very right-wing man. You seem to know your shit when it comes to facts and figures.
Yep.
But I suppose in particular, right, you're looking out for how many people are in America there?
320 million.
Yep.
280.
Yeah.
320.
Okay.
Can you ask the hairy man there that answered the phone to Google that?
Yeah. Just as far as we remember, we only asked this question the other night, and it was 280 million.
Brilliant, right? So,
Come on.
Come on.
328.
Right, so we got a figure of 328 million.
Frank was on the ball.
Yes, so you're coming from a perspective, right, a very right-winged man, but you're looking at your perspective yourself must be only looking at from someone who's lived in such a small population. I'd imagine you've lived in Ireland your whole life.
Correct.
Yes, correct. So how do you understand, how can you put your perspective into understanding a man like that? Like, I want to understand your connection with him. How do you find you understand his mindset so much?
So we're talking about Trump now, yeah?
Yeah, we'll move on to that.
Okay, so we're talking about Trump.
This is good.
And why I like Trump is because he is the first president in U.S. history to achieve what he set out to achieve. He made promises before his presidential election, his very first election, to which he carried out every single one of those promises. Black unemployment rate went down. Employment rate in the female market went through the roof. Taxes
from a humane perspective, like, you know, looking at the world as a whole as opposed to running one country.
He didn't start any wars.
Yeah.
Can I I don't know whether you know this or not.
Did he pull out of any wars?
Yes, he did. If you actually look, he single-handedly brokered a deal in the Middle East to end war.
And the deal with North Korea, who everybody said couldn't happen.
You're wrong with this. I'm telling you now, you're wrong, right?
Okay, how am I wrong?
They've been trading arms, right?
Okay.
They've been trading arms, so technically still have an input in the war. So the fact they can make money from a war says that they're involved in it.
Okay, can you cite your source for me, please?
Oh, Jesus, yeah, I didn't expect this now. 1 sec, let me just...
See, if you're going to bring an argument and say that they're still trading arms, first of all, we have to know who are they trading arms to, where this information comes from, before we know it's a valid argument.
But can I ask you?
Hold on. It came out today. Today, Donald Trump signed a deal to sell 50 F-35 Lightning Strike aircraft to the United Arab Emirates for them to bomb the Yemenis with.
Who is this?
He's brokering a couple of deals now on his way out the door.
Okay.
Trump.
Information I wasn't aware of. But
today.
Two-way conversation for now, lads. It's getting too confusing.
There we go. There we go. You got facts, you got figures, right?
Okay, go ahead. What's your facts and figures?
There you go, you have them.
Oh, what you mean what Richie just said to me, yeah?
I suppose.
Okay, so first of all, what Richie just said to me, I have zero proof of because I haven't looked into the story as yet. And it only happened today. So I have no idea. I have no idea whether this is actually a thing or not. I'm only going to have to work on the say-so of Richie.
I'd like to point out, if you actually got up during the day, you might find these things out.
Fuck you.
There you go.
Actually, Frank has a question here that Frank wants to ask you, so just bear with me a second. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I was just to ask the listener the points that you put up there. The fact that pretty much every promise that Trump made before the presidency, his 100-day plan, which he pretty much followed through point by point, and he's achieved some huge things like the TTP and the TTIP. Was one of his first promises, and he killed it stone dead in the water. He's had a lot of accomplishments. I'm not saying the man is perfect and everything he's done is great and all of his policies are brilliant. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. But point for point, if you compare him with other world leaders or our previous presidents of America, he has outperformed every last one of them, and the facts and the facts and the figures are there for the facts and the figures are there for that.
Robert.
Again, I'm not
one at a time.
Again, I'm not saying. Can I just finish my point?
I'm a world leader. I would consider my performance being on for the better of the world to keep all peace. Now, if you're saying he's outperformed what he's wanted, it's kind of bullshit. Like, he hasn't
But
done
it's-
any
but
better
it's
in the
not.
world. He hasn't lost communities. He hasn't, man. He has economically. He's just been kept stable. He hasn't been able to work this pandemic. He's made a fucking shit of it. He hasn't kept control. How would anyone have confidence in someone like this?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. What do you think that Trump could have done different during this pandemic that every other country has done? What could he have done different?
Never put a lockdown on one thing, simply.
Okay.
Or put emphasis into making the healthcare system better. Didn't even change it. Didn't recognize it whatsoever.
So what he did was he went out and they bought something like 200,000 respirators, and he had said to his admission.
200,000. How many people? Can we go back to the fact of how many people are in America? Nathan, do you mind doing a check on that again?
328 million.
So 328 million. We're taking how many respirators?
200,000.
Was it a million? Was it?
200,000.
Oh, 200,000.
Yes.
Sorry. So it doesn't add up. Personally, how many? Can you check how many we got in Ireland?
Okay, no, I haven't got the information here in front of me about what we have. Let me tackle the Trump thing. So first of all, when Trump bought these 200,000 respirators, I would also like to point out that these 200 respirators are now sitting in storage because from the very get-go of all of this, Trump said it is not going to be as bad as what they are predicting. And now the facts and the figures have shown undoubtedly that it isn't as bad, and it was just a complete Say that again?
What's the death rate? What's the debt rate in America at the minute?
As far as I can remember, the death rate is like 0.1%.
So what's that in figures?
I don't know what that is in figures, man. 200 and something thousand.
And what was the source on that first 0.01%?
That source was done by the CDC just in, I think it was about 2 months ago.
CDC.
So the CDC, the Centre of Disease Control, the guys who are in charge of all this, who know about this stuff much better than you and I do. You have, when Donald Trump came out on stage and he was talking about hydroxychloroquine, and everybody went mental and they said, oh, he's saying inject bleach. No, that's not what the man said. He was taken out of context. Only a couple of months later, it was rolled out in the NHS in the UK to have these injections of hydroxychloroquine, obviously a proper chemical composition of it, injected into themselves, and it was mandatory that they do that because it has been seen to kill COVID. So if you have a problem with Donald Trump, I have yet to see or hear from you a coherent argument of where he's doing a poor job.
I think so, more afraid. Right. I'm assuming, if you're to look at class, right, you can define class into upper, middle, and lower. Where do you see yourself?
Myself, middle class.
Middle myself as well, Robert. Where do you see yourself, Robert?
I'd say myself upper class.
Okay.
No, I'd say myself middle class. Honestly, I'm really wasn't.
Okay, and what is the relevance of that question?
Because he has done nothing. There's no tax benefit had changed. There's no looking after.
No, Robert. That's not what I asked you, man. Come on, tune in, stick with the program here, dude. What I'm saying to you is, we were talking about COVID. You asked me what class I am. You asked me what class I am. I answered that I'm middle class. So what has that got to do with COVID? What has this got to do with the argument whatsoever?
To do with COVID, sure, he's not looking after anyone with free healthcare. He got the top class healthcare when he was brought to hospital. He was given. Did you listen to the speech given by the doctor that looked after him, saying when he went out in his Escalade the next day, he said the disrespect, saying we gave that guy top class treatment and he went straight back into the public. What would your view be on that, Aiden?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Did you see this? Have you seen a video of this?
Man, I've been watching it non-stop.
Is there a video on YouTube of this doctor saying that he was rude?
I'm sure I can link it to you. My family work in the medical business. I'm sure we can link it to you if you need.
I'll rephrase the question. Is there a video of Donald Trump being rude to a single doctor?
No, I never said being rude.
Or being an asshole.
Program here, pal, right?
Okay, or being an asshole.
Keep the program. I mean, you're saying the lad waltzed around ignorantly, after getting the top treatments, going out to people who are suffering from
He's
this.
the president.
He's the president. Why wouldn't he act like
So how the hell, in the name of Christ, could he be walking around?
Are you the president? Are you the president?
No.
Aiden,
What?
bring it back to your point.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay. So how have you not got that treatment? If you came to it, would you get that treatment?
The same treatment as Trump got? No, absolutely not, because he is the leader. No, because he is the leader of the free world, and if there is no president,
Robert.
You asked me a question, Aiden. You asked me a question.
Yes,
right?
go ahead.
What is my view on the coronavirus with Trump? It's the fact that he will get top class treatment, and the people who are voting for him won't. Simply.
Okay, that's fine. I totally agree with you, Robert.
To me,
okay.
Aiden, it sounds like a little weird
No,
culty buzz.
I agree with you.
I don't know what's going on in my mind compared to you. You know?
You have to, buddy. You have to learn to listen. I agree with you that Donald Trump did get much better treatment. He got much better treatment than you or I would ever get.
Aiden agreed with me. I didn't think that would happen.
Okay, well, it did happen. So Donald Trump would get better treatment than you and I would get. Do you know why? Because he is the leader of the free world, and without the leader of the free world, the vice president would have having to step in, and America would have went into turmoil. They have no choice but to give the president. It is the president of the free world.
Aiden, let's agree to disagree, right? Now you give me from, you have a good perspective, right? I want to hear what you think will be the future America for the next 4 years. What do you think will go wrong? If you're so against left wing or towards left wing, what will go wrong with America?
What they're going to do, first of all, what they're going to do is they're going to stifle communication. Free speech. They're going to go against free speech. They're going to try and take the guns off of the people who are entitled to defend themselves if their homes are brought into, or someone like George Floyd who walks in, a man like George Floyd walks into a woman's house. Let me finish. A man like George Floyd walks into a woman's house, puts a gun up to her stomach, and robs the woman. This is why people in America need guns, because guns already exist over there. And for the Liberals to come along with someone like Joe Biden to say that we're going to defund the police is an absolute joke.
It would be fun, nothing. You know what I'm saying, listen, a few guns out of the picture. You don't need AK-47s looking at you. A pistol suffices, right?
Okay.
You don't need all this.
Okay, I agree with you. I agree, but hold on a second. I agree, but most murders that are committed in America with guns are with handguns, not AK-47s. So if you're going to ban just AK-47s, you need to ban the handguns as well, because they also kill people. Knives kill people. Cars kill people. Baseball bats kill people. People kill people. Can we ban absolutely everything? No, we can't.
All right. So you think crime will not end if we abolish or defund the police?
No, crime will get worse. I mean, if you're a bank robber, it's grand, because the only person being sent out to you is a fucking social worker. Not the police.
If we delay the police's response, right, the lack of police capacity will increase, to fear of crime, right? So if we render victims, the crime of helpless wreck will go havoc.
Well, do you know what? I have a feeling that you and I are not really going to agree very much about this. So I'm assuming you're a local lad, because the guys seem to know you, yeah?
No, I know one of them, but yeah, no, I'm not local in the slightest.
Oh, okay. Because we're running out of time. It's now going 5 to 12, and we have to do our head-to-head with Ed.
Pleasure arguing with you. Thank you.
No problem. Listen, bud, we will have you on again, but next time we're going to have to get a better phone line, because it's quite difficult to hear you. I think one of the lads has something he wants to say to you here before you go.
Robert, thank you so much for calling in. We want more people to call in. Yes. Tell your friends you can ring up the Supernatural Dogshit podcast and argue on air with them. We will do it. But this has gone on. We've had our little discussion. We have to do head-to-head with Ed for 20 quid. And we have to have our little did you know bit, and we have to just finish up the show because it's coming up on time and some of us have lives. But it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Come on and give Aiden as much shit as you can next week. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Robert.
Can I just say to someone who personally knows Robert, you're a fucking legend and well done. But fucking when you're being spoken to, don't speak. Listen.
Yeah, your etiquette is atrocious, man.
But Robert, I love you. You're a very good friend of mine. I'll see you soon.
Robert, it was an absolute pleasure, man. Thanks very much for coming on. There you go.
Now,
That was
does
Robert.
that mean we're going to go head to head with Ed?
It does mean.
All right, I'll.
Can I just inject with something? You know, Gary, who was on the show, he would be very good friends with Robert, and he said, like, I can't say the word, but he goes, "Are you scared?" And then the N word, but that's for you. That's for you. He goes, "Are you scared?" I know Robert very well, and he's always told me he's like a gripe with you about that.
That's fine. That's
and tonight was just he texted me. He goes, "I want to ring in right now." I was like, "Let's do it."
Yeah, but see, the problem is, a lot of time, because I've been working in radio for years.
That was good.
It's quite difficult to have a conversation when there are 5 people in a room, all trying to talk to one person.
Hence why we muted all the mics.
It doesn't work. So unfortunately, when callers call in like that, it's going to be just a case of one-on-one, because it's terribly unfair for 5 people to gang up on one person. I think Robert made some very good points. I don't think we're going to agree, but Robert, please do ring in again, man. We'll talk about this again. So we're moving on to head to head with Ed for 20 quid.
I think someone just texted me. I now know. Do not come at Aiden unless you've got some information.
He's like
and that's from Gareth, who was on the show too.
Thanks very much, Gareth.
He says Aiden's opinions are his, and I appreciate them.
And do we have any comments from our lovely listeners and watchers?
God, there's everybody was really enjoying the argument. Dominic says guns are made for one reason. We agree with that.
To shoot feral hogs.
He said guns are made for one reason. Baseball bats are not. There you go.
Baseball bats are a multi-purpose
Irish
tool.
people that have baseball bats are not playing baseball.
Baseball bats are made for one reason. Fucking baseball.
No, they're not.
But they have multiple uses.
In Ireland,
So is a
nobody
gun.
plays baseball, yet we sell record numbers of baseball bats.
A gun has multiple uses.
Frank, how are you doing over there? You alright?
I'm good, yeah.
Did you want to box Robert?
Frank was dying to jump in there.
You wanted to.
Yeah, I could have, yeah. But it was just hammer. Look, I understand the Trump bashing because, like, as I said, he hasn't done everything right. There's a lot of things I don't agree with.
But does anybody ever do everything right?
But pound for pound, he has outperformed them all.
Yep.
And the one thing all the naysayers and the anti-Trumpers seem to completely ignore and won't admit is the fact that this is the case. His promises and everything else were fulfilled. He did follow through.
He was a man of his word.
And if you look at Enda Kenny, do you remember the contract for government? He did big ad things. And this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to do.
Not one.
Every single thing, they went 180 on it.
But
Yes.
you have to look at Trump.
Every single one.
How long?
And you
How long?
compare that to Trump. Like even if he only got half of the things that he promised to do done, he's still
outdone everybody.
But he did so much more.
Yeah, but
And
the
he's
thing about
he's
Trump,
still
people
trying to,
have to
you know?
take into account is, right?
He's an
America is a business. America Inc. Donald Trump is a very famous businessman.
He's
and
an
what it
outsider.
shows up,
He's
an
not-
outsider,
he's not-
exactly.
He's not
part
club.
of the political
he
system.
He is not part of the club.
He drained the swamp.
No.
He done exactly what he said he
But
was going to do.
what he shows up, you got the best president America ever got because you got a guy who's in business and he ran it like a business and he
But
improved
you've
it.
had 4 years where the media are 90% against him.
Oh,
okay?
95.
So take this into account, right? You have the media 90% against him. You've the media pretty much 90% for Biden or 100% for Biden.
Yeah.
They're taking all the bad stuff away. They're not letting you see it.
Hunter Biden.
And it's all Biden. And even with all that, if you take the count as they're saying it is now, he's just about scraped through. Now, what does that actually say?
Yeah, because
in the grander scheme of things,
was it Michigan went red, wasn't it?
Despite all that negative press for 4 years straight, inquiries, all sorts of things, he went through every single one of them, and at the end of that, he's still getting a huge vote. And I think he is. I think he was the best choice they had 4 years ago, and he's without a doubt the best
choice that they have now.
And if Biden does actually end up winning in this thing, what we're experiencing with this whole coronavirus thing,
it's going to get worse.
At the start of this, I called 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, year 4 and 5, and how that goes is hugely dependent on who wins this election.
It does. And
how those 2 years will turn out.
On that beautiful bombshell, we actually have somebody on the line.
Yeah, on that beautiful bombshell, you're full of wank according to some people.
I don't mind.
And what is the name of this beautiful caller?
This is your brother, George.
Jorge.
George, are you
I
there?
prefer to go by a different name.
Well, it's too late now. Your name is George Quinlan.
No. It's Jorge.
No, it's George.
Jorge.
For God's sake.
No, he has to call it in Jorge.
Or Gigi.
Just bear
It's Jorge Villalobos.
bear with us a second there, lads. George, do you remember the infamous night where I took a crap out an apartment window?
I'm after robbing Frank's mic for this part because I need it. Sorry.
I barely remember that, but yes, I do remember it happening.
Do you remember the following day when the neighbour knocked on the door going, who crapped out on my apartment?
Yes.
Yes, just to explain the story really quick to people who don't know, I've heard this story. Aiden was very inebriated one night.
And pooped out the window.
He leant off a balcony of an apartment complex and pooped. And then the neighbour woke up the next day and was like, "There's a brown." There was a brown.
There was a lovely fresh brown poo.
That sounds like a Quinlan. That sounds like something a Quinlan would say.
Now, come here. Are you familiar with the format of the game and the rules of the game, George?
No.
Right. So there's 10
No.
plays.
This is stay in your lane. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm doing
No,
it.
no,
I'm
no,
doing
no,
it.
no.
Just because it's your brother, you
I'm
doesn't
doing
mean you
it.
get to say it.
You get to say it. Go on.
So there's 10 plays. That's it. There's only 10 shots, right? Unless we go to sudden death, which we did last week with Frank. We're going to play 10. There's 10 songs on a playlist, right? Nobody knows, bar Aiden, what the songs are.
True.
Okay? We're on camera now. The game has never been rigged. We have the camera now to prove that it's not rigged. You have to shout in first. We're going to play the song, and you shout in. We're only going to play a little bit of the
You
song.
shout your name.
You shout
your name, yep.
And you can only get a point if you get the name of the song and the artist, right? If you only have one, you can still go to the other guy, and you've given him half his guess.
Yeah, and you have to shout Jorge.
No, he's the shout George.
Just shout George, right?
Stop confusing the fucking rules.
And just try and be concise. You can't shout your name and then hold and try and guess. You have to have the answer when you shout your name.
If you do, we'll start going 5, 4.
Yeah,
exactly.
We'll count you down. If neither of you get it, it goes into the lost section because there's only 10 songs played, so it's best of 10. Are you ready?
What, is it played? Are they played just one after another?
No.
One at a time.
One at a
If
time.
neither
If you get it, it goes into the lost section because there's.
I broke everything. It's okay.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, we're going to start the game. We're going to say, "Are you ready?" That was just a test to see could you hear the music, and you can hear the music. So when we go,
No, do you know what happened? I unmuted the laptop.
we
you
know
just covered
what
my
you
perfect
did.
lie. Yeah.
You moron.
Right. So you ready to play?
That's me.
I think so.
Right. Aiden.
Okay, off you go.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Ed.
George.
Yep. Ed got in there first.
Aerosmith.
It
Don't
was
wanna-
Aerosmith. Aerosmith.
Don't want to miss a thing.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that means that Ed got one right and you got one wrong. So, oh God, where's my fucking screen's gone?
Wait
My
now,
God.
there's a discrepancy there because it was the same song that was played
Yeah.
before
Yeah,
the game
right,
started.
let's throw it away
And
then.
he also said, "Don't want to miss a thing." That's not the name of the song.
You pedantic.
Oh, I'm being
You
pedantic.
are a pedantic
Anyway, it
arsehole.
doesn't count.
Right.
Okay,
Right,
we're going to
never
scratch
mind.
that
We'll
one
scratch
off.
that one.
Next song, please, and don't make a ball.
Nathan made a boo boo, but now we're ready.
This is number 1.
Go ahead.
Ed.
Ed is in there.
Iris and the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yep. Easy.
Right. 1 to Ed.
Here we go. Next song. Ready, guys?
No, I never gave the.
Are you still there, George? You ready?
You did.
Yes, I'm trying
Goo Goo
to.
Dolls.
Yeah.
That's the name of the band.
You said,
He said Iris by the Google.
He said everything, yeah.
Oh, Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls.
come on, lads.
Wait,
they're all
or
over.
did he not say it?
No, he did.
Okay,
he did.
okay,
he did.
I said,
Lads,
shh.
everybody,
Okay,
on.
ready.
relax.
Silence.
Go on.
Ready?
Ooh. Oh,
Yeah.
George.
Go on, George.
Go on, George.
Hoobastank, no, the reason.
Yay! 1-1.
Oh no, you got that one
Yeah,
right.
you got that one wrong. See, everybody's fucking up. It's okay. It's not just me. Ready, guys? Next song. Quiet, please.
Ready.
Quiet.
Oh, George.
Oh, George is winning.
Think.
Yeah.
Give me a reason.
Can I be? If I'm
you're not helping people anymore.
No,
I'm sick of that.
If I'm being really pedantic, he's missing one word.
You're missing something. You have to give us the full one.
Just give me a reason.
Yeah, you got it.
That's it.
2
points
to
to
George.
George.
Oh my God, he's on fire.
We're gonna be broke this week, lads.
George is getting 20 quid.
We won't have any electricity this weekend.
Can I just ask a question, George? Is your car diesel or petrol?
It's petrol. It's a Jeep.
Well, there's a 20 quid for you for your petrol for the week. He's already won. Right, okay, you ready? Here we go.
Oh,
Next song.
Ed.
Oh, Ed.
Sorry, wasn't me.
Fuck me, that was quick.
2-2.
2-2?
2-2.
Here, we're going to run out of songs. I'm going to have to start picking them after. But anyway, next song. Here we go.
Next song.
Oh, George.
He's in.
George
He's
is in there.
Killing Me Softly by...
Come on, George.
No.
I'll give you one hint. It's one word. It's one word.
It's one word.
Yeah. 5,
Fergie?
4,
3, 2,
1.
So.
Goes
Fuji's.
Yeah.
Killing Me
That's the
Softly.
problem with this game. It gets past.
3-2.
Okie dokie. Next song.
Oh, this is a good one. You ready, guys?
George.
Ed.
No, George
Frank is first.
What is it?
Pharrell Williams. Get Lucky.
The right person, but the wrong band.
Over to you, Ed.
It is Daft Punk, Get Lucky.
Oh, 4-2, and we are on 6
Oh, that's a
guesses.
ball.
So you really have to pull this back if you want to stay in the game, George.
So next song.
All right, guys, here we go. Next song.
George.
No.
Oh!
Crazy by Gnarls Barkley.
Well done, sir.
4-3. 3 songs left.
Give him another one.
You're 1 behind, okay?
Here we go. Next song. Shh.
Ed.
Oh.
Fuck off. You're not that quick, are you?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, shit.
What is it?
5,
Valerie by fucking, what's her called?
3,
2.
Hang on, no, hang on, no.
That was a bit quick.
All right,
That was a bit quick. That was a bit
you,
quick.
You always
Wait,
fucking take it in someone
no,
else's
no,
favour.
you're just
Give us the
dragging it
answer.
out.
Give us the answer.
Can I just say now your time has gone?
So, stop. Now we're gonna go 5,
4, 3, 2,
1.
Over to you, George.
Amy Winehouse.
Good woman
was it.
yourself.
Amy Winehouse, and what was the song?
Valerie.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Level pegging. 2 songs left.
Let's fucking go.
It's getting interesting.
This is a good one. Okay, next one. Here we go, guys.
Ed.
George.
Hosier, Take Me to Church.
Unfortunately, he was in there.
Right.
No,
So
we're not done yet.
No, listen. So that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to Ed, 4 to George. 1 song left.
So it might come to a tiebreaker.
So you're saying this can go to a tiebreaker?
Yes.
If Ed gets this, he wins. If George gets this, it goes to a tiebreaker.
Exactly.
I know the next. I can see the next song I'm gonna play. Shh.
Ready?
Everybody. Oh, no. You. No. Let me do. Now.
Yeah,
okay, you ready?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
No. Shh.
Ready? Here
This is
we go.
important. Ready?
Ed.
George. Oh, fuck.
Ed,
God,
got it?
yeah, someone that I used to know. Somebody I used to know.
Damn.
Very close, Georgie boy.
Fuck me.
George, my man.
That was tense.
You put up a fierce fight, but unfortunately, Ed, the smug bastard, has kicked your ass.
So next Tuesday, it's head to head with Ed for 40 quid.
That's for you, George.
George, have you anything you'd like to say to George before you go, Ed?
You suck.
There you go.
I love you, man.
George, awesome having you on, man. Chat to you soon.
I'm going to bed. Good night.
See you.
What about sad? I have a contestant for next week already. They're literally after texting me. Every song we just did, they were texting. They were like, I know it. So,
All right,
but
then.
he did it again.
Pulled it back. Clawed it back.
Did it again.
Well, in fairness,
But Frank is still the only other winner.
Head to head with Ed.
George gave some
is
go.
now for 60 quid.
No, it's not 40.
No. Oh, yeah, it is 40.
Yeah,
Yeah,
40
quid. 40 quid.
Lower that down a little.
Just out of pure interest. We have. Jeez, we're going way over.
We're way over.
And it's now Friday the 13th in 2020.
Is it? I love how you say way over time. It's 12 minutes.
We're way over time.
We started late.
Does the Late Late Show end on time?
Did you notice last week Ryan Tuberty holding a big KBC card?
Yeah.
He did,
Yeah.
And do you know why Late Late Show is shit? Because it ends on time. Hold on. I can come back to you. But you know why the Late Late Show is shit? Because it ends on time.
It's not that late then, is it?
Yeah, there's been nights when you've been here well after 1 o'clock.
Yeah, some nights.
Exceptions to all rules.
So
I will say I would love if tonight was one of those nights.
no, it's not going to be.
Well, it can. We can do the Did You Knows and I can fuck off.
That's exactly what
That's
I'm
what
going
we're
to
gonna
do.
And then we can keep going. You can.
So, ass face, etiquette. Just bear with me 2 seconds. We're going to go to you, Frank, first. I don't know whether you know this section of the show, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. And this is called Did You Know? So you have to say to us, did you know that, and give us a fact. It can be anything in the world.
As insignificant as you feel.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know?
I can come back to you.
Yeah, come back to me.
I get
Come
that
back to me.
all
Come
the
back to me.
Right,
Yeah,
we'll come back to you.
In fairness, you put me on the spot. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I'll get back to
Eduardo.
Did you know that British military tanks are all fitted with tea making facilities?
No, I did not know that.
Oh, there you go.
What a cool fucking fact.
That's a pretty.
It's
pretty
pretty
good fact.
damn British. Isn't
Some
it?
tea and scones in the tank.
So, Mr. Quinlan, did you know?
I didn't have one. I didn't even think of one while it was going around. You give me yours first.
Agriculture. No, I'll give you a topic. Agriculture.
I've got one. Do you want me to throw it in?
Go on.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know the average household in America has 300,000 objects?
What?
Yeah.
That's mad.
What?
It's
300,000.
got a mic in the eye.
Objects.
That's a lot of objects.
Probably
Agriculture.
includes itemized tools and stuff like that.
Anyway.
I had one. I've forgotten it.
Did you know that if you culled every single mule, this time next year there'll be 10,000 of them?
Okay. What?
That's interesting, yeah.
No, wait. If you called every single
mule that's on the planet Earth right now, you could just disappear them, wipe them out, there'll be 10,000 next year.
How?
Because a mule is what happens when a horse fucks a donkey. And they can't reproduce. A mule only comes from that way. You can't have two mules have sex and make another mule.
No. And did you know?
That might be the best Did You Know on the show so far. That was good.
That was a good one.
Did you know in Brazil it is actually okay to fuck a horse?
Nice.
In an episode.
When are we going?
In an episode of the Grand Tour, there was a lad in the middle of the field slapping the ass off a horse. He was giving it to the horse, and then they went over and interviewed him, and he said, "It was a male
He's
horse."
like, I like it.
It was a male horse, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "So are you gay?" He went, "No. Why would I be gay? You're sticking your dick in a horse."
I think there should be a clause, and it's only fair that if you fuck the horse gets to fuck you afterwards. That would really deter.
We've all seen the video of the woman getting fucked by a horse. She died after that, apparently. She did.
You're saying we've all seen? No, we don't.
You've never seen the video of the woman bending over, and the horse is standing there, and the dick is so long, and then it gets inserted. Yeah, Richie's going. See you later. Bye. Love you.
That's it, but
the dick gets inserted into the woman's vagina. The horse fucks her, and apparently she died after it.
And we always go to a smutty place when you're on the mic.
Always.
I'm so happy to have a microphone right now. This is going to be so much fun.
So
Get dirty.
Have you any embarrassing stories you'd like to share with us, Frank?
Embarrassing stories.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
Waking up one morning and finding my father in the sitting room with a very stern look on his face. And he said to me, he says, I never want to see you as drunk as I saw you last night ever again.
Wow.
And my jaw hit the floor because I didn't even remember coming in.
Did that affect you in the...
Yeah, the worst part was when he came into my room and I had mistaken the wardrobe for
a bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah. That didn't go down too good.
We've all been there.
But in fairness, the way he dealt with it was quite nice.
Yeah, well, he did. He always dealt with things.
I'd say he was shifting it onto you as more of a disappointment.
I'm just going to
more of a son. You know what you did wrong.
He could instill a lot with very few words.
I like that.
Yes.
That's a real man. Can I interrupt really quick? I've got some comments saying, don't stop, keep going, guys. I love it.
My sex education was one sentence.
Okay.
If you get a girl pregnant, you're marrying her.
Here's an interesting fact. Here's another did you know.
Yeah.
Did you know that in the Bible there is a passage that says if you rape a young woman, you must pay her father so many shekels.
Oh, the dowry.
And marry her. It's in the Bible. There's nothing worse than a la carte Christians, a la carte Muslims, a la carte Jewish people.
Oh yeah, they just pick and choose.
Well, religion. It's
probably for the best.
It's a bit like perspective. Okay. Now here's the way I like to put it usually. Okay. We'll say
everybody can see as well, so you can explain.
Example. So we'll put that on the table there, and we'll put it like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we'll say you're Islam, you're Hindu, you're Christian, and I'm
atheist.
Jewish.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Or atheist.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll take this as the answers to all things, the reason for all things. And, okay. And that's what this is, the idea of religion. This is the...
For people who are not watching, there's a bottle of whiskey in the table in between the four of us.
If you were to take a little picture from where you are and see that and say, this is what I see, this is what I know, and this is in front of me, so I can see this.
This is how I see it from my
this is right
side.
Okay. Now you can't see this as clearly as Aiden can.
I can't see this at all.
You can't see this at all, or this. Now I can see this, but it's slanted, and some of the writing is a little difficult.
It's skewed.
But the point is, everybody has a singular perspective, and everybody's perspective of this is different.
Yeah.
And in some cases, completely different.
Never heard anybody explain it like that. That was one of the best ways I've ever heard it explained.
If you take the more perspectives you take with regarding any question or anything
and
you're trying to figure out, the more
of an idea you get.
Perspectives you get, the better picture you have of what this
the
is
understanding
in
exactly.
a whole.
Yeah.
But there's no religion that does that, because every religion has their particular perspective. This is where they're coming from, and they don't acknowledge anybody else's view.
And is there any religion out there that does acknowledge others?
No.
Nothing.
No. This is why I've made a point in my life.
Unless you call just basic spirituality.
Yeah.
And a belief
and
in...
that's where I come from.
That's where he comes in. I've heard this,
I've basic spirituality. So I have studied the Quran. I studied Islam.
Yeah, guys, in the comments, we're keeping going, don't worry.
I studied Islam for 4 years. I studied with the Jehovah's Witnesses for 3 years. Then, of course, I read the entire Bible myself.
I had two instances with the Jehovah's.
I read the Mishnah. So I looked at a lot of different religions, but the one thing just kept ringing true. One thing.
Pastafarianism.
Which was love. In every one of the books, it's love.
And forgiveness.
But my problem...
The power both of those have is...
Amazing.
You know what? Can I just say something to Frank on forgiveness?
What?
Sorry. Before I... I hadn't spoken to my father in about 11 years. And yesterday I rang him for the first time in 11 years. And he wasn't expecting that call. And this man's been teaching me forgiveness. And that's what I did, and I forgave him, and I'm starting on a fresh slate. Imagine that. Not.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
Did you feel a
weight?
Physical weight?
I feel great.
Yeah.
Since it happened.
I had a similar occasion with a serious thing to forgive, and the first time I said the words, but they weren't 100%, and I knew it.
I meant it. I meant it last night.
Yeah. But when the time came and I did it properly, I knew, because I actually felt that release, and it is. And you see, people think forgiveness, that's weak. You're saying the
bullshit. That's not weak.
Forgiveness is not.
Thing in the world.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's
you
not
forgive,
saying,
but you don't forget.
It's not saying it's okay.
Yes.
It's not saying it should happen again. All you're saying is, I'm not going to let this control me anymore.
Yes.
I'm not going to give this my time.
Even unbeknownst to yourself, it could be controlling you. Yeah.
And the only way to do that is through forgiveness.
Yes.
It's
a beautiful point, and I tell you why I say that.
And the only reason I went with that was because you said forgiveness.
And because guilt, forgiveness, all of these other things you harbour. The other person may not harbour any of these feelings. So let's say you hated somebody, and Joe, we'll make up a guy. Joe,
my dad.
Joe is sitting at home.
Joe's a prick,
and you're sitting there and you're going, Joe's a fucking asshole. He done this to me.
But
he done
is.
Other.
Wait, can we just use this?
Hold on, wait.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So Joe's sitting at home, you're sitting here seething at Joe. Joe's at home having a party. You're not even a part of his consciousness.
Exactly.
He's not thinking about you at all. So the only thing you're doing is carrying around the weight of the hatred you have for somebody else.
Yeah.
So dispel that. If there's somebody in your life,
Pictures in the mantelpiece. Perfect example.
if there's people in your life who you don't get on with or don't want to have any part with, the best thing you can do is discount them. Have no feelings for them whatsoever.
I got to a stage in my life in recent years, indeed, and you know the 5 stages of grief. I went through them several times.
For those who don't, what are they?
First is denial.
Yeah.
Second is bargaining. Third is anger. Fourth is depression.
Fifth
and
is acceptance.
Acceptance, yeah, the good one.
Now,
The good one.
That's the last time I was in this cycle. I was in stage 4, and I was actually being treated. I went to see a counsellor, and that 6 weeks, and I got my head around things, and it was good, and it was needed. I think more people should avail of these services when they have
I disagree.
trouble or an issue. Well,
I think people are over-terrorized.
But well, I disagree with that myself. I think if you use it correctly, it can be a huge benefit.
Grief.
But the idea of actually just letting go and saying the words out loud, hearing yourself say them, that in itself is therapy.
Yeah, but see, do you know what? We're going to run into a big problem.
Can I just finish with this?
Okay, you go.
The stage 5. This is where I got it the last time. and
Acceptance.
I got it in a very true sense. Because that's when I set my line in the sand, and I reset this line regularly. And what this line represents is forgiveness, blanket forgiveness. Anybody who's done me wrong or might have wronged me or done whatever,
Fucked you over.
done whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, all is forgiven.
Have you been like this all your life, though, Frank?
No. This is only in recent years. There's no guilt. There's no blame. There's no animosity.
Yeah.
There's no hate. There's no nothing.
And from doing this,
and if you let go of the negative emotions, when you look back at events,
yeah, this is what I want to know.
that's when you can learn the lessons that are there.
From doing
that are hidden,
sorry.
that are hidden to you unless you actually let go of those negative emotions.
Yeah, and
then you can see it as like a show on TV, and you can see the actions and reactions, and then you can get the message.
Do you think from doing that you've seen a difference in your own life?
Yes. Okay. Definitely.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Well, forgiveness is a powerful thing. I watched a video of
yeah.
a man who had his son murdered. He was an Islamic guy, and his son was murdered by just some thug. And in the middle of the courtroom, he walked over to the guy. He threw his arms around him.
In the courthouse?
In the courthouse.
Wow.
Cried and said, "I forgive you, son." He said, "It's not you that done it, it's the badness that's in you that done that." He said, "And I don't blame you." He said, "I'm giving you the chance of forgiving you now. Do not mess this up because you'll only be disappointing me."
And that is, it's
powerful.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, like-
and it's,
yeah.
it's an intrinsic part. Oh, sorry, it's an intrinsic part. Getting back to the whole spirituality.
You do forget you're on a podcast sometimes.
Of the wheel, the cycle of, if you believe in reincarnation, that whole cycle. There's blocks to that path at certain stages, and that block can only be unblocked by forgiveness for whatever it is. So this whole idea of forgiveness is not just here and everything else. This is part of.
It's a ripple effect.
It's a part of our being.
Yeah, I get that.
In all forms.
Like
It's not just restricted to
didn't
here.
know I was harboring all this. Does that make sense? I didn't know I was harboring all this bad shit. And then yesterday, when I did that, I was like, "Fuck! I actually feel so much better. What was I doing? Why didn't I just forgive him all those years ago?"
But something I'd like to say about therapy, I think that people are being sent to therapists way too much.
Some people, yes.
Because I personally know people. I explained on this show before. I have a friend of mine who. He rang me after work and he said, I'm having a terrible day. He's rah, 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 down the phone to me. And next of all I can hear in the background, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? He said, "I'm stabbing the table." I said, "Why are you stabbing the table?"
He told me the story.
He said, "I've no internet."
Fucking internet.
No internet. So he went to see a counsellor. Like, I mean, who in the name, what is it?
That's to deal with anger issues.
But what? And see, this is my problem. If you've no internet, Get over it. It'll be fixed at some stage.
Yeah, I know,
don't
but
make a big deal out of
I
it.
don't know. Have you been in counselling before?
Oh, loads of times.
Yeah.
Loads of times. I was a patient of the number one. I keep forgetting what's the name of it? We spoke.
Clinical psychologist.
No.
Forensic psychologist.
So I was with the number one forensic psychologist in this country.
And I bet you couldn't figure you out.
I sat there and I told that woman, I said, you are talking complete and utter bullshit to me. Because the things that she said to me, so basically I was in a scenario where she wanted to run a risk assessment on me because I had threatened suicide. Not threatened, I had tried to commit suicide.
Twice.
And failed. I'm really shit at these things. But she done this questionnaire and she came back that I was a high risk. And I said, okay, explain to me, why am I a high risk? And she said, well, you like to jump from job to job.
I thought you were going to say you like to jump from bridge to bridge.
That was my method of choice, by the way. So she said, you like to jump from job to job. So that's a bit of a marker. And there was several other things around it that I was going, are you for real? I said, you're telling me I'm a high risk person because I get bored with jobs?
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And this is the type of psychiatry that they're giving people?
I don't think there's a profession that I've done for any more than 4 years.
Same. Bullshit.
I can't stick at the same job. I hate it.
Whether I'm moving or whatever else, so you get a better job.
But you personally, guarantee you, if you went into her and done one of these risk assessments, I guarantee you every last one of us would come back high risk.
High risk.
Which is bullshit because every last one of us
But
are
again,
humans.
And you know what you say about moving jobs? Is that not progression?
It's like I said with the X-rays and everything else. It all depends on who you have
looking at it.
Perception.
It's actually dealing with you. With me now, the last time I was in, I went in, I think it was 6, I might have done 7 weeks. It was actually week 3, I was walking up Mary
You're talking about with a psychologist?
That's when I had the idea, the 5 stages of grief, and that's when I realised I was actually in stage 4, which actually gave me a bit of encouragement because stage 5 was only around the corner. And that actually helped. Knowing that I was actually in this cycle and figuring out that, yes, it's 5 stages of grief, and I could go back and I could see how they all manifested, and I could see where I was.
Do you think the cycle is actually an actual thing then?
The knowledge, knowing that this is the cycle, this is normal, this is natural.
Yes.
Knowing where you are in it makes it easier to deal with it.
Yeah. See, I didn't
move on to the next
didn't
stage.
find counselling with me. Now, every one of them asked the same
6 weeks,
question.
7 weeks.
I fucking
I went
counselling.
in, and at the end of the session, she said to me, "I don't think you need to come back." And I said, well, I think you're right.
Every one of my counsellors I sacked. Every one of them, because they were not helping me with my issues.
They're just getting you to talk.
Well, look,
my thing is, come on.
You can't just, all of us can't just sit here and poo-poo shrinks. Like
we've all been to them.
Yeah, but I had a great
shit.
one. No, I had a great one.
Well, you must be an exception because I've been to see a few and they were dirt.
Listen, you're only going to get as much out of the shrink as you're willing to put in yourself.
Okay, that's
a bullshit excuse.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
That is bullshit.
Absolutely not.
You still have to have the right one, though.
No, that is.
No, you might have to have the right one. I'm not saying they're all perfect.
Yeah.
There's some of them are going to be phoning it in. It's just a job to them.
The whole thing of putting in just as much effort. Every single counsellor I went in said that to me. You have to do what we ask you to do when we say it to do it, and give you your advice and blah 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 blah. I followed all their guidelines. I've done everything they asked me to. My life did not change one single bit.
Yes, I had another shrink when I was younger.
Shout out to everybody who's still here,
and it was like that.
Well done,
right?
Guys.
In my adult years, I did get a good shrink.
Right.
He's still a good shrink in my eyes.
Okay.
And he did help me realise things. He led me to these conclusions myself.
I've been with 5 or 6 of them.
That's fine, and it didn't work for you.
No,
what I'm saying is, it worked for me, and it might work for someone else.
Do you know why it didn't work for me?
Why?
Because I eventually realised. Actually, I'm gonna.
Did it make you change how you saw anything?
No, not at all. Not at all. But there was one counsellor, and she was only like this temporary. It was the night I tried to commit suicide. It was actually the following day. A counsellor came into the room and she sat down with me.
Imagine this podcast wouldn't be here if you would have done that.
She said to me, she said, okay, let's talk about your problem. So I'm sitting there and I'm going blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to really be engaging with this woman. And she says to me, she said, Aiden, you know what your biggest problem is? She said, you're a good guy doing bad things. And I'm sitting there going, what? She said, every bad thing you've just told me ended up on your doorstep. You wanted retribution for people who were doing things on you. but it always ended up on your doorstep. She said, so the only person you're really hoarding is you. So she said, do me a favor. You're a good guy. Stop trying to be a bad guy. 'Cause she said, your natural scale is off whack. She said, you're forcing yourself to do bad things. So she said, just stop doing that and see what happens. I think it was from that day forward I started trying to be a better person.
Well, that's bringing balance back, and that's what
Ergo,
she was referring to.
Would you
You're
argue
out
it
of
was a good
balance.
shrink?
She was actually a nurse.
If I go pee, you guys won't end the podcast.
No, we're
going to
end the podcast now. We're going to end it up now. We're
way over time. We're half hour.
Way over time. So what I'd like to do, as always, thank Mr. Nathan Lightham for coming into the studio this evening.
Thanks so much. I didn't have a mic for much of the night, but I had so much fun.
And I'd like to thank Frank, which we won't
Thank you,
divulge
lads, for
his
having
sore
me.
name.
No, pleasure.
We'd say sexy Frank for coming in. Oh, actually, before we go, Frank, thank you very much for the mirror.
Oh no!
I know it's still in the process.
Still
I'm going PCs all later.
But Frank has a hobby of his where he makes mirrors, and I've seen his work. It's absolutely spectacular. He is a true artist. You can see from the stuff that he does, this is not just pulled out of his asshole.
No, this is
not
exceptional.
This is not mimicking anybody else. This is original artwork, and it is
watch
magnificent.
this space.
Exactly.
I'm hoping in a couple of months. I'm hoping before the Christmas, but it might be after Christmas.
So we'll sort you out with a website, Frank, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
So we'll help you out. Now, also, I'd like to thank Mr. Ed Harris, who's been unusually quiet tonight.
I can't get a word in, Edges.
I think it was a bit of a stressful night for you, wasn't it?
Huh?
I think it was a bit of a stressful night for you.
Oh, people twisting fucking live light bulbs out, yeah.
I know. Stick to their lane.
Stick to their lane. I'm the fucking tech.
Yeah. Well, and on that bombshell, what is it that you always say? Come on.
I'll spare you.
No, don't spare me.
Go on.
Don't spare me. I can't end the show without it.
Oh, fine. Shut your face, Aiden.